Hello, everybody! If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Joining me, as always, is my co host Tom. What's up, Tom?
Hello, friends.
Also joining us this week, back on the show, Strength Hammer himself, the strongest man in Warhammer, the Liberator, the Evocator. You're going to work your way up eventually to just be a true Lord Celestin here. Yes.
Yep, on our way.
It's Chuck. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Hey everybody, how you doing today?
Chuck, I am very sad we missed out on a yearly event this year. But I want you to know, since the weekend of Nova, where normally I would have been seeing you, we would have been hanging out. We have our yearly ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know that though I was hanging out with a bunch of other people, I did wear my shirt on the appropriate night that we would have went out and got food. So yes, I still maintained.
I mean, it would have been better if we all managed to somehow still get chicken and waffles on that same day, but next year.
Next year. That's right. 2021 coming back strong. Let's turn this ship around. Okay?
The world is what you make of it.
That's right. There we go. All right. So tonight we're gonna do a little I don't know, half tinfoil hatty, half wish listy, half let our imaginations run wild when we talk about some additional units we think they should add to other armies. With the coming of the Giants, who are going to be mercenaries in any army of all four alliances, and with Broken Realms, if it's truly like Psychic Awakening, opening the possibility of having new units added into armies, as we saw, that's exactly what they did in 40k. I said, hey, maybe we'll get the exact same thing, and this show. That's what this show is. But first, of course, the news. Tom, what do we got?
So we got a rumor engine.
We do. It's a bird. It is a vulture or buzzard or something on a spike.
Bird. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. What do you think it is, Chuck? Like, other than a bird?
I think it's specifically a vulture.
Sure.
That helps.
I think that's accurate. Yep.
It's clearly not an elf, and it may or may not be 40k still. It's not an elf, so I'm already out. I've lost interest. So, but if I had to take a wild guess, I'd say it's something. Let's go. Let's go ogres. I mean, they got the vulture theme going on, so I think it's a pretty safe bet.
It's true. They do have a vulture that looks very similar on one of their guys, Huskard people. I think that's who carries blood vultures around. That sounds right to me. And he is very similar looking.
That's not what this is.
All right, we're ready, Tom. Tom's got an idea. Ring-a-ding-ding. Tom will predict a thing. Here we go. Our famous segment. Go for it.
This is clearly vampires.
Okay. All right.
Ooh. Okay.
So you know how and this is the captain model.
Sure.
Probably a named character.
And
so you know how instead, you have parrots?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're going to have a vulture. He's going to have a vulture on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So is it like he has like a sword arm and that's what the bird's perched on?
Yep.
All right.
I think maybe he just has a big shoulder spike. And that's what the bird's perched on.
Yep.
What if it's a full boat, just like Luminous, but it's a full boat for the terrain piece, and the bird that's just part of the terrain piece?
I'm in.
Sure.
We need more Luminous sized terrain pieces, right?
Obviously. Look, I think that it's not a bad idea, Tom. I love the idea of switching the parrot for the vulture. I think that's a good idea.
And vultures, it calls out to the historic death, obviously. It echoes that aspect of because obviously Tomb Kings historically had carrion vultures.
Yep, sure.
Yep. And so I'm just saying, I think that's what it is.
I would really love it if they left turned on us with all of this, by the way, and we did get pirates, but they were like mummy pirates, and it had nothing to do with vampires. That would be, just mummy pirates. It would be the most amazing switcheroo of mummies out on the open seas. Yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
I would be down for that, just because I just painted up Dreadfleet earlier this year, and I mean they're in there, and the art is pretty cool for them. So I'd be down for that.
There you go.
I wouldn't hate Tomb Kings then.
Yeah, exactly. If they took them out of the desert and put them onto the ocean, it would be my favorite. Just switch turn, left turn ever. Yeah, that'd be great. And
Apparently,
yes,
we are getting Tomb Kings, just not like we expected.
sure. Tomb King Tristan's going to be very excited that we've talked about them this much thus far. Yeah, I don't know. My feeling is I'm sure they'll surprise us, and this model, which feels so much like an AOS thing, will just ended up being a will just end up being some 40k, like, you know,
Space Marine Lieutenant number
like some
673.
chaos model or something or whatever. You
Of
know, it'll be
course.
like, oh, okay, cool. There
And
you
then,
go.
it'll be the end of the day, and we'll just move on.
Yep. But that's all right. Cool vulture. Looks neat. It
Yeah.
does look very much like an updated sculpt of the Ogre Blood Vulture, I will say that. So
Yeah.
they're very
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah, I mean, it could certainly be like a warband or something. It could be Warcry.
Yeah. As per usual, this is this is one of those rumor engines that, just as IT said in the comments, where you know exactly what it is and that tells you nothing.
Right.
Mhm.
It's like, yep, it is definitely a bird. Like, it's definitely a vulture. Got it. And then that's...
Well, we know that.
Yes, I know 100% of what this exact image is and nothing else, right?
But is it a blood vulture or a skull vulture, or just whatever you want to preface it with? That's what we need to know.
Right. Because realistically, they could stick a vulture on anything and it would be perfect. Like, you'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It just fits like skulls.
Right. Like any good guys, bad guys, medium guys, it doesn't matter. Everybody has skulls, so it's just a thing.
Here's my secondary call out, by the way. So the other possibility
I'm ready.
is that it's actually for Osiark.
Okay. And is their expansion as part of Broken Realms, like what we're going to talk about later on?
Yep.
It's their new character? Sure.
Yeah. Because traditionally, like, obviously they had a lot of like Tomb Kings-esque feel.
Sure.
And they're gathering bones. And the other aspect of that is, like, historically there were vultures, like actual vultures on both the Tomb Guard and on the Skull Catapult.
Mm-hmm.
That they weren't like carrion, but they were true like vultures.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could see them slipping that into like a small homage piece in an Osiark expansion.
Yep, that would make sense. Sure. I mean, and it's just, well, I mean, as we'll get into, it's going to be interesting when we get into this discussion later. There's going to be a discussion about sort of what armies need it more than others, right? And how much, when you look at an army, how do its current number of scrolls impact kind of how you'd think about wanting to add more stuff to it. So, yep. All right, cool. What else we got, Tom?
What else do we have? Now, that is a great question. There's something coming that I heard that's kind of big.
It is. I mean, allegedly. Yes, that is true. Allegedly.
You want to talk about this because you're clearly really excited about it.
I am invested in this, yes. As all good and righteous souls should be. If you're not collecting a giant army, you're doing it wrong. Bottom line. Everybody should be on this army. You can get into this army with, like, this can be a 6-fig army. I mean, that's what mine's going to be. It's 6 models, baby. That's what I'm rolling. Okay?
Yep.
3 bigs, 3 littles.
$1,000 6-fig model, sure.
Whatever. It's not that expensive. I mean, even if
everybody,
it was like
180.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Everybody should be asking for a giant for Christmas because everybody can use one.
That's right. There you go.
So.
And if you've got one, you might as well just get 3. And then if you've got 3, you might as well just get 3 little ones. See how easy? That's what we call the slippery slope. Only it's a slippery slope down into instead of going into like a bad place, it's a slippery slope. You just slide into like a big Scrooge McDuck pile of fun. That's what's going on there.
It's like Kill Team or Warcry, like that. Like I'll just do a Kill Team. I'll just do a Warcry warband, and then it's like a whole army. But they're already a whole army model, so
this is a smaller army than my Warcry warbands. It's 6
That's
bigs.
true. Yeah.
So there you go. Easy. Slam dunk. At any rate. Yes, so we've seen like singular abilities and the names spoiled for all of the Mercenary Giants, the ones who can go to death, destruction, and order. And their abilities were all like, okay. They're fine. Whatever they spoiled, none of it was like, yep. And here's the thing. I don't want them to be amazing when allied in as mercenaries, okay?
Right.
I want them to be like a cool, big, hammery type of thing, right? That for the armies that don't have a big bully type thing, they can take the thing. I want them to be always, as with any army, I want them to be strongest in their own faction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, last week I had laid out a theory that I was sure this previous Sunday was going to be the announcement of the pre-order. I mean, I was sure of it. That last Sunday would be the announcement for a pre-order this Saturday, and that would have had them releasing on the 10th. But unfortunately, they tricked me again. This is... Look, I don't want to do another Slaanesh-themed army, okay? I don't. Because I've got that Mortal Slaanesh guy coming, you know?
Yep.
And that's...
Yep.
And, like, he's bringing with him, most likely, all the leather daddies I've been dreaming of. So I see him as a herald of the coming Mortal Slaanesh leather daddies.
Is that set out?
What's that?
Is that set out, that dual box?
No.
Mm-mm.
If it was,
Nope.
If it was, Chuck and I would have already made some trades. But at any rate, we've Chuck and I already have that all prearranged.
We've already worked it out.
Yeah.
Do we even have a time frame for that?
No.
I was actually just thinking about that today. I was like, wait, didn't we have...
Well, I mean, yes, we know
something-
it's this fall. That's the best answer they've given us. They've said that, so, you know.
Sure. Yeah, that's useless. Thank you.
I mean, it'll be in the pre... Here's my answer, Tom. Realistically, they'll make it October, early November, right? Like late October, early November, because they want it to be... Because it needs to be available to buy for Christmas.
Right.
And anything after Thanksgiving is technically too late to release something for Christmas shopping. So...
Right.
Like Thanksgiving's your cutoff.
I do enjoy the concept of people walking in to buy their kid Warhammer for the holidays, and they get those two armies as the starter army for their children. That makes me giddy inside a little bit.
Absolutely. Some people are saying that they actually said November. That's cool if they did. I didn't catch it. It was
Yeah,
specific.
it'll be the first or second week of November. Okay.
So, yeah.
Like, yeah, because there's that coming, and then there's also the new Underworlds,
which that we know is December.
And
Did they put a date on that?
Yeah, because they released the whole roadmap for Underworlds.
Well, not Underworld. Sorry, we also have
Warcry.
Warcry
Catacombs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming November.
I believe that's right. Yeah, maybe December. At any rate, we'll see. I mean, there's stuff. My guess is originally there was supposed to be more armies for AOS at the end of this year. My other guess is we will not be getting any of those armies at the end of this year anymore. And that all of those armies we were going to get are probably pushed off into next year. Just because, you know, the nature of the beast, right? Like, I'm sure at this point Giants are like 5 months late for when they wanted to release them based on, you know, COVID and what happened. So, at any rate, I didn't want to do another Slaanesh army. But the way that this army is teasing me is just the amount of just like,
just a few extra keeper arms.
Yeah.
Green stuff.
Exactly. Like, it might as well be... these Giants all clearly worship Slaanesh on the way they're teasing all of us, so there is no other answer. I am still trying. I'm still stuck on a theme for my Giants. Time is running out. We'll have to decide something at some point.
Well, I thought you were going to do like the Heroes or the Legends thing.
Thought about that. Didn't like it. I'm going to figure out something else. We're going to work on it. But there's got to be a good theme in there somewhere. So, there you go. Who knows? I assume pre-orders this Sunday. Go ahead, Chuck.
As a quick side note, the one thing I'm most looking forward to with this Giants release is, and don't get me wrong, I love the fact that our lore continues and always goes forward. Sure. And, like, you know, obviously, like, the Elf books seem to always push that, you know, Lumineth did. But I'm looking forward to reading the Giants book for the lore alone. I'm going to buy the book even if I don't buy the army for a year, because I want to read lore that's fun and has nothing to do with the fate of the mortal realms. I just want fun. I want big stompy fun, and I'm really looking forward to that. And the art they teased already, those two pieces are just amazing.
They were fantastic, and you're right. They did release the story of Behemoth or whatever as one of the articles. Sort of, I think it was Thursday, like it was the day after our show last week, and it was a really great story. It was wonderful mythic fantasy. I think my favorite part of AOS is truly the mythic fantasy. You know, of like Behemoth and all the giants were in the god beast in their father's stomach, And so they brewed his entire stomach into a lake of beer,
Beer.
right? And so he would get sort of alcohol poisoning and throw them all up. Like, what a fantastic, cool, like, Greek myth type of story. That's just wonderful.
Yep.
So I love those kinds of things. Those are the sorts of stories that set it apart. I know everybody is always asking for more humanish level stuff. And I have no problem with that either. I think all of those things make for an interesting world when put together. But I love that AOS has the space to tell these incredible, weird, insane, mythic fantasy stories that are just so out of the box and insane, right? That feel like the story of Zeus against Zeus and the Hundred Handed against the Titans, that kind of madness, right? So, yeah, good stuff. I'm down for that. Yeah, so I assume we'll get the pre-order announcement this Sunday for a pre-order, not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday. So then we'll have them the Sunday after that, or the Saturday after that. Sorry. But good night. Oh well, I suppose it's giving me extra time to think about my theme, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah, I'm not buying them.
We know, Tom, because you're a buzzkill. Until they come out and they're awesome, and you're like, I do only have to get 3 figures.
No, like I would like if I were to do them, I would want to do something like a unifying theme. And so like I would really want to like the thing that grabs me is to do the undersea army. Associated with IDK, but I really don't want an IDK army. And so like the only thing that's like semi interesting.
So all Kraken Eaters is what I'm hearing here, Tom. Go
Right,
hard into the fish. Go sea themed.
But like, yes, but it's all going to be bad. Like if you do that, if you skew, I suspect it's just going to be bad.
Who knows?
It's the same reason why, like for example, troll armies don't work. Is that the whole army is 3 different units.
Well, this army is only 2 units, so it's hard not to skew in some way.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so I'm not going to paint a bunch of models who are bad mechanically.
Well, let's not write them off mechanically just yet. But sure. I do assume that this is not going to be a powerhouse army, just based on what it is. 6 figs at AOS are a hard win, unless you're Beastclaw. I would point out that, Beastclaw has been highly competitive, and they have only 6 models on the table often. So, it can happen. Like, they have taken tournaments, they frequently top 10, it's a very competitive army. So it's not as though it's impossible for them to design a 6-fig army that is competitive.
I don't disagree with that.
We'll see. I do love the idea. Efren said giant army themed is giant Caradron mecha. Cue the Pacific Rim theme. Yep.
Oh yeah,
that's solid.
See, I'm definitely gonna have one with. I'm gonna give it some green stuff, some witch elf hair. I'll have some witch elves jumping off of it, like they're kind of like braiding his hair. I'm going to take a statue avatar of Cain and use that as his weapon.
Nice.
To make the avatar of Cain slightly more useful.
Sure. Yeah, that is definitely more useful than any way he could.
Yep, just like a big Cain rune on his stomach.
I mean, hypothetically.
We're ready. I'm ready.
I mean, the statue could get better in the Morathi book.
Could. I was actually just picturing the witch elves braiding the giant's hair like those Cirque du Soleil performers who spin on the drapes and stuff, and they they spin themselves around and lift themselves up and roll themselves down. You know what I'm talking about. We've all seen this thing. So that's
I'm for that.
There you go. That's what I was thinking. Like witch elves being wrapped up and spinning around in the giant's hair like that.
Yeah, that yeah. Hold on. Keep talking. I'm just gonna write stuff down.
Just make yourself a note. There you go. All right.
Pretty good idea.
What else we got for news, Tom? So there, yes. Hopefully giants. It's the best we can do.
And the thing that at least perks my interest is the AOS legal item list in the FAQ. Oh, there was something else that you missed.
Well, that's fine. Do you want to get to that after this one?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You can. That's fine. If I miss something, bring it up in a moment. Look. We won. We did it, guys. We did it. Okay? Let's celebrate.
Yeah, right. That is this one.
This is this. We did it. All right? So, Look, I'm calling victory on this one.
You the balloons and
Absolutely. If I could have
Yeah.
organized a balloon drop behind me, I would have. Okay, if I ever left the house, I could have gone to a place that had balloons and a helium tank or whatever. I would have done it. But
as an aside, a helium tank is counterproductive for
a balloon drop. I was thinking that as soon as I said it. Yes, I understand. I thought the same thing. I'd like pull it and nothing would happen. They're all just locked against the ceiling. Oh, I don't know. I don't know balloon drops.
But
yes.
victory.
But victory nonetheless. Yes. So obviously, month, 2 months ago, when all these questions came up around legality and what was based on the GHB answer. So it was around the time of the GHB FAQ that this discussion all started. And we had this talk about losing all the stuff in White Dwarf and which of these books are even legal and can you use Legion of Grief anymore and blah, 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 blah. And we said, look, why can't we just get a list? Let's just get a list. Like, and the AOS team, they heard and they delivered. There is a detailed list including all the White Dwarfs. They have on the page, they have a nice little list of each of the factions. Like if you want to have this thing, it's in this White Dwarf number this, and here's where it was, and so on and so forth. If you go to the actual list in the FAQ, they specifically call out when books only still have partial legality because elements have been replaced. They show that. So for example, Malign Sorcery, they talk about, just the endless spells are the things that are still valid, and so on and so forth. So I was so happy to see this. I give this a solid B+. This is a B+.
I would agree with that. I think that I think the solution to pointing people to the digital White Dwarfs is it's acceptable. Like that means that they are perennially. I remember like the last time we had this conversation, and you're like, if we can just get a digital PDF with all of them. And you're like, these are no longer available. And I was like, but they're out there, and like I pointed out that they had like there are those digital things. I remember going to the Black Library, and then it was like, oh yeah, it really makes no sense, 0 sense, why they hadn't done this before.
Right. So here's why I give them a B+. You want to get to an A+ for me? So AOS team, I assume you're listening now. So hello. I'm sorry. This is a consultation now. I'm speaking directly to you.
You got a camera too.
This is for Jess and everybody else. So all right, hello, hi everybody. You're doing a great job. We're all very happy. I'm sure those Giants are going to be fantastic. Don't listen to Tom. He's negative Nancy. I'm going to be buying all of them. But look, just between you and I, here's how you get from a B+ to an A+. Okay, let me explain. So, burying the list in a PDF that isn't contextually searchable in the same way from Google and has bad search engine optimization is not the best place to put that. A lot of people don't even read the FAQs or know they exist. I know that. I know we do. We certainly talk about them. And I know people who have a high, who are highly tuned in do. But there's a lot of folks out there who don't. And so just opening up a spot on the website that says, in the resources section that you already have, that says current attorney legal list of stuff, just copy it out of the thing you already made, paste it out into the site itself. That way it actually shows up if someone Google searches for, is this thing legal? It'll return in search engine results. That's just a convenience thing for everybody else. But here's why it matters to you. Because I assume you want to sell products, AOS team. And if you put it out on the website, you can include hot links to those products. So you can actually put Forbidden Power and then have a hot link to Forbidden Power to let them buy it. You can have Wrath of the Everchosen and have a hot link to let them buy the book. So you'll sell more stuff, which is actually, good. And so that's better for you. So it's worth the 30 minutes of coding time you have to pay somebody to go out and create a website thing. I know it's not nothing, but it's worth it. That's how you get to an A. You want to get to an A+? Stop charging us for 1.5-year-old White Dwarfs. That's cute. I appreciate that you're trying to make some more ducats off of that. But let's say you sell, 20 of those? 30 of those? How many people go and buy 1.5-year-old White Dwarfs? Because, not to spoil anything, I'm sure you're aware of this, but if I go into Google and just actually type the name of the thing that you gave me on your page, I'll get images back that just show me all the rules. So I can get them for free right now. Okay? So what you're asking, your thing of buying the whole White Dwarf is not that much better than free when all I need is the rules. You're comparing against free. But with the slight hiccup that I have to like dig through some Google images in a kind of annoying way and find the ones that aren't clear and then okay, here's the good one. Let me save that image. That's kind of annoying for me. Here's the better world. Once something goes more than 12 months old, you don't stand to sell many of them. But influenced revenue wise, indirect revenue, you stand to make a lot of money because if you make those free and one person goes out because of it, one person goes out because of it and buys a whole squig army, that's actually more money to you than you would get from all the downloads you're going to get of a 17-month-old White Dwarf. That's how you get to an A+.
Here's the big brain. Let's take the Celeste, for example.
Sure.
You go to GW's web store, you purchase Buy Celeste. You get an email order confirmation on the way. Oh, hey, by the way, here's a free copy of the Celeste info from the White Dwarf.
Love it.
You open it up, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, if I just go and buy these two kits,
sure,
I'll have this battalion. And you can even have that form not just be a copy of the White Dwarf, but you can have it formatted slightly differently that you can say Games Workshop Tournament Legal or something basic at the bottom that makes it more valuable than the Google image search, that makes it look more legit, that makes people want to have that. And you're giving away for free, but then you're going to sell a few extra kits.
I love this idea so much. This is a beautiful idea because you can do that with like the Mangler Squig or any of the Squig kits for the Squig for Jaws of Mork. You can do it for the Fire Slayer stuff, for the Fire Slayer article, for the Stormcast. That's so beautiful. Extra bonus. Stop throwing vouchers at me to try to make me go buy more stuff next month and give me that when I'm selling. I love that idea, Chuck. Boom. Brilliant. Join the marketing department. Listen up. Listen up, GW marketing department. This is a winner right here. Okay, so there you go. And so people ask, like, what's actually legal? It says in the list specifically, like, all of this stuff in here is legal.
Yeah.
So when it comes to battalions or whatever, or subfactions, they remain legal. Regardless of the points that are in GHB, that's not relevant. This is the legal list. This is what is legal. They have expanded the original FAQ answer to say, here's your list. If it's on this, it's tourney legal. You don't need to ask anybody to play it. If it's not, sure, you can play it as long as your opponent agrees. That's the basic agreement we're all entering into. Great, perfect, love it. Currently at a B+, you can move your way right on up. So hopefully, I assume we'll see that change in the next couple weeks to a month. So thank you very much. Now, that was actually a consultation. Now that you've listened, I will be sending an invoice. This is a paid service. So okay. At any rate, all right. So, yeah, you know, I was super glad to see this. I really do, like, all joking aside, I think this was a great thing. And I'm glad they finally did it.
I agree.
Long overdue. But, hey, I'm not going to complain about how long it took. I'm glad we're there. All right, guys. I think that's all our news, right? Did I miss anything, Tom?
Nope, that's it.
Awesome. Okay. So, gentlemen, let's turn to some pick of the week. What would you like to share with everybody? Chuck, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to call out my dear friend, Sean, Brush for Hire. He's been streaming on Twitch. He may be at 1,000 followers now. I don't know. He's definitely moving and grooving, but it's twitch.tv/Brush for Hire. He streams Monday through Friday for about 8 hours every day because his full-time job now is commission painting. So he's hanging out, chatting. He has a lot of cool, fun stuff going on. I think like Fridays, he'll have some of his most regular commenters join a Discord chat, and he calls it just Voice in My Head Fridays or something like that, where they'll just have a conversation and while he's doing his thing. So they're kind of commentating on him, and sometimes he'll interact with them, sometimes he won't. But it's good content. He's funny, and he's streaming almost every day. So if you're ever at a place where you're just like, I just want to put something on to paint to, you know, listen, twitch.tv/Brush for Hire.
Beautiful. I love it, man. That's great. Sean is a great dude, great painter, and yeah, I am more than happy to boost the signal on that. Another guy I missed hanging out with this year at Nova, because that's generally the only time I get to see him all year. Tom, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna promote a content creator that is like somewhat tangential to us.
Okay.
But his handle is Pleasant Kenobi on Twitter, and he has a YouTube channel that is much more popular than any of ours, and already for like Magic, but he's
Gotcha.
just gotten into Warhammer.
Ah, okay, cool.
Okay,
Nice.
and he's doing Warhammer Wednesdays. Now he's into 40K right now.
So we got to go get him into AOS, is what I'm hearing.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
Okay.
and so I'm like before he's like 2 to 3 months into 40K, and I'm just afraid he's going to hit the community and be like, it's shit. So here's the task for all of you: go throw him a bunch of follows. Watch some videos. Join him as he makes fun of the Walking Dead, Magic the Gathering, promo crossover stuff. He has tons of just very enjoyable content, whether you follow Magic or not, whether you do 40K or not. And so I would highly encourage you to check him out.
Nice.
So.
All right. Okay.
Cool.
Very nice. Well, see, the real way, Tom, would be you need to reach out to this dude and get him to come on the show.
I've already dropped some comments in his feed.
Well, good.
So
Good.
we'll see.
All right. Excellent. Okay. So for mine, I'm gonna have two, because why not? So first one is I was on Honest Wargamer last Friday. It was day 192, if memory serves. I don't know, something like that. Whatever day it was, maybe it was 189. It all blurs together. Whatever the point is, I'll link it below. Rob and I had a wonderful chat for about an hour and 10 minutes talking about Skaven. So if you want to see some of that hot rat chat, you can go check that out. I talked about a really fun list I've been toying around with lately in my games that's all about a mix of null deploy and teleporting your entire army every round.
Sounds amazing.
It was super fun. So, Tom, you'll enjoy this. I played a game with this list against our mutual friend, Dan, and he charged me on the first turn with Archeon. It was in total conquest.
Yep.
Weird corner to corner.
Yep.
He threw Archeon across the board at me, and then he killed like 20 clan rats, and then my entire army teleported behind his army to the other side of the board. And Archeon was just all alone in my corner, and my whole army popped up behind his on the other
awesome.
side. Like, we just all bounced. Everybody was like, "We're out! This guy's here!" So yeah, it's really fun what you can do with Skaven. They have a lot of movement
more
shenanigans.
Real quick, when are you doing the Storm Rats?
Oh, when am I going to do the rat cast? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, rat cast. Yeah.
Whenever we get a new Stormcast book and it's good and moves me in some way. Like, what I mean by that is current Stormcast doesn't have anything that grabs me that makes me want to build it, and there's too many models. I don't want to make this some sprawling... To play like real Stormcast, I'd have to build some sprawling 8,000, 10,000 points like I have of Skaven, because there's so many scrolls and all the chambers, and I don't know, none of it really grabs me in any way, right? Like, there's not a cool battalion that I would want to build around, or a sub-faction that really grabs me or something like that. But if they redo the book and something specifically grabs me, which I think, I'm hopeful that'll be the case, then I'll find a 2,000 point list, right? That'll just be a hobby project for that. And that'll be actually Skig's Ratcast, right? Like a bunch of Skaven that he's redeemed over to Sigmar. And that'll be, because I don't want this to spiral out of control into some big... It's meant to be a confined project. So that's when I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I've already been thinking a little bit about like what sorts of conversions would be fun. But, like what would I put with what pieces go together with what, that kind of thing. And so I've got some ideas of brewing, and it'll just be a question of what comes together. Anyways, second item I want to talk about is our good buddy Haywo, friend of the show, Haywo Twitch, who just put out his Seraphon video today, which was fantastic. Dinosaurs riding dinosaurs shooting lasers. It's a great video. His army breakdowns are fantastic, and cannot recommend them enough. So I will link both of those in the description below after the show. Check them out. Jose, do we think Stormcast will get a new chamber next year? Yes, because I think their Broken Realms thing will be new Stormcast, and I hope it's tanks, because if it's tanks, this Skaven conversion is going to be real easy. So there we go. I hope it, like, give me Stormcast tanks. It started as a joke, now it's real. I want it. Okay. So, and I mean, you're just like you do with, by the way, it's no different than Space Marines, how they can always introduce new groups of Space Marines, right? It's the same thing with these chambers. All right. So, let's talk about some hobby time, guys. Chuck, what's on your table, man? What you working on?
Oh, actually, just before we began, I finished up 20 Luminous Sentinels, bringing my army to a nice 1,000 point level, where I'll probably let it sit until the Daughters of Cain comes and pass with that new box set. Probably start techless next year. But I do have 5 Canary Life Takers that I have to paint for an event next Saturday, on the 10th, so 2 Saturdays from now. So that's what's next, is more Daughters of Cain, as you could probably guess.
It never ends, but that's all right. Yep. Chuck, you're a man of a singular passion. That passion is elves in many varieties, and I respect you for it. Tom, what about you? Did you finish your trees?
Not really.
Have you gotten a chance to work on anything?
Nope.
Okay, so it's just playing Magic, huh?
Yep, we're back to that.
Yeah, okay. You got to stop that, Tom. It's going to suck you down this well. It's going to be a deep, dark well.
Yep.
You gotta find your surface and start doing some hobby. At any rate, that's fine. So I finished it for myself. I finished up those 10 Chaos Knights. As I said last week, I would dominate them. Sure. And I did. They almost killed me. But we got through it. And they came out rather nicely. And that basically finishes that army off. That was sort of the last unit that was hanging over my head there. Which left me with a wonder of what exactly I was going to do. So I went ahead and based up a couple pieces of terrain that I've had kind of floating around. Got them on a base. I'll get them painted. I've got this little Blood Angel guy here in mid-progress. He's going to be for a tutorial that I'm working on for a hobby cheating on painting Blood Angels in an interesting and different way. But actually what I'm working on actively is this guy. Look at this guy. This thing is sweet. This dude is from Terrible Kid Stuff. It's called the Child of Winter. And it's like a big Soviet, like, communist space marine power armor dude. He's super cool. Miniac gave this to me. I think they still sell it, but it was out on the site. Or I don't know, they only made 100 of them, so I'm not sure. But when I saw this guy, I thought, what a great chance to do some awesome weathering, because it just feels like it would make like this old, beat-up Russian power armor suit would just feel like that. So he's got little jetpacks on his back and stuff. And this dude's super cool. So I'm having a lot of fun with him. I always love a good excuse to paint yellow. To use the Imperial Fist colors. And as I was painting it, I was like, all this steel, if I'm going to do like very beat up yellow enameled armor, I'll do a bunch of brushed steel. That'll look really nice. And so now, thousands of lines later, as I'm working my way over this entire miniature, making these little tiny lines you have to make for brushed steel, I've decided that I've made a terrible mistake with my life. But I'm too deep in to stop now. So at any rate, yeah, that's the dude I'm working on. His head is obviously not in there. His head is over here. But yeah, so I got lots of fun stuff lined up. And we'll see where we go and how soon those giants show up. That's going to determine, because that's obviously when this all goes out the window and we start working on another army.
I can't wait to see you paint those giants.
Yeah, man.
The tattoo work you're going to do is going to be amazing.
There's definitely going to be tattoo work. That goes without saying. That's a slam dunk. You can't leave all that skin open, right? Like they're going to be tatted up. Okay. So gentlemen, let's get to our feature segment tonight. Let's talk about adding some units, shall we? All right. Sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this by Grand Alliance and by Army. Now, we don't all have to come up with something, okay?
Okay.
We're going to go through each army. We're going to say, this is the thing we want to add, or we think we'd add. If you've got a good idea, go for it. If you want to support somebody else's idea, say, yes, you got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to have 3 ideas for every army. We don't want to be here until next Wednesday. All right? Okay. So, let's start at the beginning. We're just going to do this alpha because I'm looking at a big list, right? So that's why we're doing it this way. Let's start with Cities of Sigmar, right? That's where we begin our journey. An army with already like 50 war scrolls spread across numerous species, right? What does this army need in... Oh, what are the rules for this, by the by? How are we deciding this? It could be based on rules. It could be based on aesthetics, right? It could be based on simple rule of cool, that you think it would be an awesome addition. All right? So it doesn't always have to be filling some kind of bottom-up, gap-filling hole in the rules part of the army. Sometimes it probably shouldn't be. But it can be. And the only other limitation here is, I think with Psychic Awakening, all of these were, as I said, what prompted me for this was we've got our own Psychic Awakening coming through Broken Realms. And I think with Psychic Awakening, they were always characters or single models. But I'm going to assume we're better than that, and that we can sometimes get units too. So it could be a unit, it can be a hero, it could be a special character, it could be any of that. Okay? Those are the rules. All right. But it does have to be... it does have to be something in that army. Okay? Like, don't say an ally option or something like that, right? But it can be anything that isn't there now. Or it could be it could be the changing of a scroll. So, for example, maybe if we had done this a long time ago and we came to cities, you would have said, well, it'd be cool if the steam tank could be a hero. Okay, fine. That's, boom. Right? That's a valid pick, even though it's not technically a new model. All right? Sure. Because that could show up in the book just as easily. Like, they could print a new war scroll in the same way, or Prince of Orderai, or whatever, right? That kind of stuff. All right, we got the rules. Here we go. Cities of Sigmar. Who's got it? Who's got one here first? Who wants to go?
I'll go first on this one.
All right.
And this may be a bit of a running theme throughout my picks for the night, but Cities is a definitely good one for it. I want strong characters, secondary, unique characters. Think of like the old High Elves. You had Corhill, you had Caradhrian. You had characters that they had some lore. They would appear throughout the lore. Major events, not always as the biggest player, but they were there.
Yeah.
And it gives someone who says, I like this character. So then they wait for and seek out knowledge of what else has this character done. They wait for the next, battle tome to come out and go, what has changed? What else has he done? I mean, give me the Master of the Docks from Anvilgard. Give me the Master of the Watch for, Hallowheart. Give me the High Botanist of the Living City. Like, give me those characters. And sure, you could dual purpose them to be a generic character too, but like, give me someone to care about. I say it as someone who's created somebody he cares about in My Daughter's Cane, but give that to me. I miss that in Age of Sigmar kind of as a whole right now. And I think Cities is the prime example to give those named characters back to us.
Okay, I dig that. By the way, just a real quick answer. Satan asked in the chat, is there a Blackguard equivalent in AOS? Yes, Blackguard. Blackguard are still in AOS, so they are the exact equivalent, as a matter of fact. So you're good. Okay, I love that idea because you're totally right, especially with those sort of. You mentioned a couple of the elf named characters, Eltharion, who we obviously got back in sort of spiritual way of through the light of Eltharion. People really did have attachments to those sort of secondary characters that weren't the ultimate heroes or the ultimate protagonists of the story. They weren't the world movers, but they were cool. And we've gotten a few hints at that here or there, like what's his name, the Firestrike, the Magister of Hammerhall or whatever, Aventus Firestrike. But there could be that row of secondary special characters is a big bench we could fill out. I like that. It's a good idea. Tommy, you got anything?
No, I mean I think that lends itself to some really neat combos, is what I would say.
Yeah. I've got one, and mine is along the lines of the hero on Steam Tank. You ready?
Okay.
It's the hero on Demigryph. Okay? Let me sell you on this guy. I want a 6 wound. Demigryphs are normally 4 wounds. I want him to have 6 wounds. Okay? Because then he can still be adjutant or benefit from the appropriate city stuff. So 2 wound boost feels okay. Hero on Demigryph seems really cool. He could lead, like he feel would be really appropriate in that heavy Demigryph Hammerhall type battalion and army, like in an army built like that. It just feels like a cool thing. And one of my buddies who plays cities pretty much week to week, like every week he's playing cities armies, when he got a hold of the Anvil of Apotheosis, one of the first things he did was build a hero on Demigryph, and it sort of worked. Right? Like, it didn't really feel like a hero on Demigryph, but it was close. But like, it's such a good idea because you could boost him up. He could give the demigryphs themselves the bonus they need to actually be like a really valid part of the army. For example, the command ability I would give him would look a lot like the Varangard ability, where they can subtract models from counting off an objective.
Yep.
Right.
Mhm.
And where it would then make it so your 3-man or 6-man units of demigryphs suddenly become really potent at being a threat to objectives, because that's the problem with them right now. They'll run into a block of 20 elite infantry or 40 or 60 things, and they'll do some work, but that unit will still have 20 or 40 people left, right, depending on what it started at. Like, they'll kill out of some stuff, but they don't blow up the unit, and then they just don't take the objective, right?
Mm-hmm.
This would make them a much more versatile piece.
Yeah.
And
so
it would just be
basically
cool.
a mounted hero.
Yeah, but like heavier than a horse, right?
Okay.
But not on a big giant monster. He would be in that perfect little middle ground, right? Of just like the heavy horse.
In that like
cavalry.
75 by 60 oval.
Yeah.
It's funny because that piece that you're describing is the solution for me for a lot of armies.
Sure. No, I think this is going to come up over and over again. I feel like it's one of the areas that's missing. The middle ground hero is sort of a thing that I'd love to see more of. You're not wrong. So we'll probably come back to it, I'm sure. But to me, that would be the ad. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Next up, we've got one near and dear to everybody in this particular show. As a matter of fact, that's the Daughters of Cain. The army that all three of us share. We all have a Doc army, so there you go.
But what can you add to perfection?
Well,
I have a solution.
Let's just start by saying they already added what would have been my number one pick in that box set through the Melusai Iron Scale, right? Which was I wanted a heavy snake hero that'll hopefully have a snake command ability and make snakes playable. So we understand that they actually probably hit the number one thing the army needs, but okay, so what else are we going to do?
Chuck, do you want to go first?
No, after you. Because actually, I thought about this one all day, and I've been struggling. But
a canary hero.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Nice.
There's no canary hero.
Yep. Sure.
And I think that we need that.
Does she have the same hide and drop down at any point ability?
Maybe.
I think that could be really cool, because then she could drop with them. That would actually be, and she'd be a leader. Like, that would be a really potent piece in the army. Actually,
I'm thinking along the lines of it is 40k, but Abaddon the Despoiler has his guy, I forget his name, that it's a raptor. He jumps down to the planet before Abaddon lands.
Yeah. The dude with the big spear.
And he helps the other people come in closer. So maybe you bring an extra unit of Canary in closer. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. My other answer is going to be a cheat. You ready?
Yeah.
Do the thing we talked about on the show several weeks back and make Morathi 2 units that can both exist simultaneously. Make Little Morathi and Big Morathi both be able to be on the table.
Yeah, that's legitimate.
Actually, I'd
obviously.
Yeah. Play with all your toys at once, yeah.
Exactly. Make it so Little Morathi's the one that starts, and when Big Morathi comes out, that's her sort of her god aspect. She achieves her avatarhood, her godhood, whatever, and so her big form comes out when she gets angry, but little form is still there, right? She still has her little aspect. That would be super sweet. Okay. Good.
Actually, Tom's idea sparked me with something actually that bothers me, and no one has ever seen me play them. And this is entirely lore based. I want a character, let's call it Mistress of Warlock or whatever. You can put her on a horse. I want a character that makes the Doomfire Warlocks make sense in this army. They're the one thing that have been in this army, and I didn't convert them. Tom, I know you did some lovely conversions to make them work. Mine are pretty stock standard. I want a lore reason that makes them make sense other than these guys cast magic and they put them on a horse.
Right, yeah. No, that'd be good. Sort of a connective tissue for why. Why are they part of the Covenants? Yeah.
Yeah, or even to the point where it's like I said, you have a Witch Elf or Sister Slaughter type caster on a horse. It doesn't have to be like a super big, heavy character, obviously, but she controls them and maybe gives them a boost, or I don't know. It's just, it always has bothered me why they're there.
Yeah.
They felt shoehorned in for no reason.
Yep. I like that. I like that. All right. Next up, one that only one person in this chat cares about at all, and at least one person in this chat outwardly hates. Fire Slayers. So, Tom, what do the Fire Slayers need?
Magma Droth, non-hero cav.
Magma Droth non-hero cav. Okay, so can the Magma Droth currently be built without the chair on top?
Yes. Like, it has a strap around its waist, right? But, like, just, like, make some combination of from the bits that we have, right? And, like, it can, let me just say this. It can be done.
Yeah, sure. Well, the guy on top wouldn't have to be a hero, because you're saying it could just be a dude.
Right. Let it be a dude, because most of the suns, like, aren't used, especially the broadaxe suns. Like, so there's just an alternate build there, or something in there, or I don't know. Like,
no, I like this idea. What you're saying is effectively just like in Beastclaw, how they have their basic, you know, just guys on a Stonehorn or guys on a Thunder Tusk, right?
Yep.
This is the same thing, but for them.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like, the big thing that you're feeling in this army is mobility, and that actually, like, solves it, because it gives you a cheaper option that's just not like, because the problem is that, and most people don't, like, if you haven't played Fire Slayers, you don't understand that, like, the Magma Droths aren't good.
But you're saying this will make them good. This could make them good.
You're right, because, like, they all hit on 4s. All of them. Like, everything. Almost down the profile hits on 4s for Magma Droths. It's just so not good. Like, on so many levels.
Gotcha.
And so, like, you know, alternatively, they could just fix Magma Droths. Make them effective, make them affordable, you know, make them worth their points. Then we might have a different world. But I don't know. It's just frustrating, the world that we live in. With
no, I love the idea of, honestly, because they're kind of small enough. Like, it's not actually as large as physically as large as sort of a Thunder Tusk or something like that. I understand they're actually on the same base. But just like the size of the model. Yeah. So it would be neat to have a non-hero version of it that could be taken in a unit of 1 to 3 or something like that. Right. And just kind of give them a straight, I don't know, 9 wounds, 10 wounds, something like that. Give them basically a chariot level of wounds, right? Like a big chariot level of wounds.
I think it's the solution. Like, if you want to talk solutions, it's the solution.
Sure. No, it's a slam dunk. Uses the existing kits. Wouldn't require a new sculpt, which I always find highly suspect. Because that's the problem with this army. Is it's like, I don't know what you're going to add, unless we're talking about adding in some other kind of brand new cavalry piece, right? Which would be the only other thing I would think. Like, if they had mini Droths, right? Instead they had Magma Droths and mini Droths, and they had Fire Slayers riding mini Droths as their sort of cab option, because both rules wise and rule of cool wise, it would just actually be a very different silhouette. Would feel like it was doing something useful in the army, right? So, yeah. Go ahead, Chuck.
So, yeah, like you, I was thinking silhouette. Well, there's 2 things. First, trousers upgrade sprue, because Gotrek looks better than any of the other Fire Slayers out there.
Right, yep.
Second, though, I was actually thinking going bigger than a Magma Droth. Not giant size, obviously, but a Golem. Give me something that give me the peak of the mountain from this silhouette. The Magma Droths are nice and they're big, but I want something just a hair taller. So, or conversely, you could convert them to, like, your idea and make them sort of the cavalry in like a unit of 3, and they're like avalanche or whatever.
Sure, but like in your head, this would be a big singular non-hero monster, like the Rogue Idol, but full of fire and magma.
Yeah, I'm thinking more. It doesn't have to necessarily be like big as far as the actual thing it is, but like the presence needs to be big, like Celston Prime. You know, just maybe like
Yep. Yeah. I like that. Okay. All right. Okay. I think, honestly, I think any of those directions could work. Having a big giant piece like that, especially if it did have some speed as like a line breaker bully, could actually do work, because they could get there and tie up the enemy army real fast, along with maybe your ambushing unit, while the rest of your army then does slog up from behind, right? So that could be a nice combo. I think that's good. So, yeah. Cinderfall Gaming said we also have the Magma Dragon that already exists. That fig does not count. That is an ugly fig, and it's no longer made and good. I love Magma Dragons as a concept. They had some of the coolest War Scroll and the worst figure.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to whoever sculpted that. I apologize. That is not good. Okay. Right on. Good stuff. Good stuff all around. I do love that multiple people said Avatar of Grimnir. That's funny.
Oh yeah.
I think they need more fire. They need more Urgold before they can rebuild their Avatar. They haven't got enough yet. That's AOS like 3.0, 4.0 territory. Once they've spent some years building up enough Urgold, then they can cobble together an Avatar. All right. IDK. Idoneth Deep Kin.
Okay.
Did we solve this
quick.
last week when it was Hero Turtle? Did we already do this one last week? Go ahead, Chuck.
I would say rule. Let's not talk about and beat up on Lotan.
No, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, last week when we did fixing IDK, we said Hero Turtle, and I love Hero Turtle.
Sure.
I mean, just go watch that show. The 3 turtle variants of Turtle Hero, Existing Turtle, and Unmounted Turtle. So taking the Arachnarok mentality with it, to me, is still the winner. But, I mean, that's just... We already did it last week, and I stand behind all of that 110%.
Yeah.
Like, that's the winner.
Yep. I won't disagree at all.
You know, like, very little work that needs to be done there. Now, I will say, somebody earlier had said the idea in this, which we didn't talk about last week, but if we're going to talk about a cut from whole cloth new unit, somebody mentioned the idea of more heavily armored, but more like an Anvil Namarti unit.
Yep.
In the chat, and I actually think that's a really interesting idea from sort of a rules perspective, and you could see them having that heavy embossed sort of coral armor that they wear, you know, having it down, like, have a heavy half breastplate and a heavy half like leg piece, and, you know, give them big long more like glaives instead of their big giant two-handed swords, like a glaive and shield or something like that.
What about just they're all armored up, but with coral, and they're yeah, and they're just fisticuffs with just like rock or coral hands.
Oh, sure, just punching people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, just punching boys.
There is unfortunately, so it was Sporadicus who said it. Sporadicus, I don't have a way to allow you to post a link. It just doesn't let anybody else post links. So, but feel free to like hit me on Twitter with it, and I'll retweet it out. So that's fine. It's a cool idea. I really like that idea because that would be a neat anvil, like turning Namarti into maybe like a 4-up with some kind of extra save or a rerollable save or a save bonus they could get in a certain situation or whatever, something like that. Would be a neat way to make them actually very valid in the army and a cool anvil with numbers. So I dig that. Okay. Plus, I just love the idea of them pushing those guys, those poor soulless people out there, and just being like, "Okay, go, stop the enemy."
Can I take a shot at it?
Sure.
Crabs.
Just crabs.
Like crab people. So either crab people,
crab elves
right?
In this case, yes.
Yeah. Or so crab elves or whatever. Or the so like either riding crabs as crab cav.
Sure, crab cav, yep.
Okay. Right. Or you could do like a gigantic crab.
Okay. Well, we already have a big turtle, so giant crab feels duplicative, but crab cav seems fun.
Let me think about it. Yeah.
What makes them different than the eels? Because we already have an anvil eel and a hammer eel. So what do these guys do? Because they feel like they should be anvils.
Yeah, but like, so I don't know. I would do something that's like anvil-y, that's also like tanky. Like anvil-y and slow, but that would also like tie up the enemy.
So a step tougher than the shield shield eels?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, okay. I can see it. It's not my favorite. Turtle Hero is my favorite, because Turtle Hero is a cool idea.
But what I mean by that, sorry, to be clear, is to like them tying up um, them tying up enemy units to limit enemy mobility.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, using
Yeah.
their big crab claws to grab people. Yes, I get
Right.
it. They're a big tar pit.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with it.
And we don't have crabs. We don't have crabs yet.
And we don't have
Like,
crabs.
how do we have a sea army and no crabs?
It is a shocking oversight. Yes. Okay. Cool. All right. So next up, our good buddies the pirates of the skies, the Caradhran overlords. So, what does this book need? What do we need to add to the Caradhran overlords? I have an easy answer for you here. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. We need an actual melee unit in numbers in this army. Like, I'm going to start mechanically on this one, right? And I would love it if we could just have, and I'm not count. I understand Endrinriggers exist. Okay, I get that. But I would love it if we had some melee focused Arcanaut company that were actually worth it in melee. That, you know, had melee type weapons and were meant to go engage. Like, they're true Marines. I understand that's a keyword, but like people who are meant to literally board and fight, which nothing in this army other than your zippy guys with chainsaws are actually doing this right now. And even then, they're not really doing it in mass. That's why I say it'd be on the Arco body, right?
Right.
Where the whole idea is you pull up with the ship, you dump them out, and then they want to get in a scrap. You know, you're not worried about them then getting charged and obliterated or something.
Yep.
To me, mechanically, that feels like the answer. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm gonna go against melee. This is the shooty army. I want to make them shoot, and this is gonna be the only time I say this because typically I'm not a fan of them. I want a terrain piece for this army, but specifically I want it to be 3 separate pieces, and I want them to be essentially mines, like air mines, whatever you can call it, where you can place it anywhere, obviously away from an objective, that has a fairly large, large enough that matters radius, that if you get within that radius, that unit takes, I don't know, d6 mortal wounds or whatever, and then it goes away. Or maybe make it 2d6. So you're force people to try and think like, well, I don't want to move there. So a KO player can place them in a way to hopefully create his lines of sight better to force his opponent to come towards his guns.
Yeah.
Nice. I would just point out here that some people have mentioned, like, the Big Brothers, like, as Halo said, the Big Brothers from Bioshock, or Hannah said big mecha steampunk suits with riot shields a la 40k or Killicans acting as an anvil. Like, sure, that also seems like a slam dunk. Like, a heavy elite anvil infantry would also be a cool way to go, right? So this would be, what I was describing was a little bit more of, like, an offensive hammer fighty unit, but having an elite level, let's just call it Terminator armored or something like that, right? Group of guys that came in 3s, because you've got, the problem is Skywardens and Endrinriggers are not differentiated enough, and one is clearly better than the other, and whatever. It would be neat if, kind of like the Eels, one of them was a little more defensive and one of them was that, but this could be a new way to have them. They're too big, they're too heavy, they're a solid anvil, they don't fly. They're another walking unit, right? They get dropped, and they just, stride forward and just take hits. That would be super sweet. I would just like to shout out also, somebody mentioned a named boat, which I would dig a named boat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a special character boat.
Man,
it's not a hero.
I've been all of these were suggestions before the prior book.
Sure.
And like a lot of that you don't even have to do anything with.
Sure. Like for the big power armor dudes, that's a whole new kit.
Yes.
But for the named boat, that's just printing a Prince of Ordrai war scroll.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I love the idea, by the way, of having a unique entry that's not a character. It's not a hero. Right? Like, because in that army, it's not the people that are special, it's the machines that are special. Right? It would make a statement about the nature and the theming of the army, of having the, what are they powered by? What's Aether gas or whatever? Is that what powers?
Aether gold. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is that what they collect, or is that what they're powered by?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, fair enough. So would that be AGS? Is that how they would shorten their names? Because like like the SS whatever meant
Like
steamship.
or Her Majesty's, yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't know, whatever. The point is that yes, I think that would be super sweet. So there we go. All right, all good ideas, all valid. Love all of them. Okay. Uh, freshest off the boat, as it were, to continue our theming, the Lumineth Realm Lords, LRL. Is the slam dunk here just a non-named melee hero? Is that the easiest answer?
And put them on a mount.
Sure, like just a guy
Yeah.
on a horse hero, or the guy or a lady on a horse. Is that all we're talking about for Lumineth? Because they have two weedy caster non-named heroes, and everybody else is a special character.
Yeah.
Is that really all it
Yeah.
is? I think that's all it is, right?
Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah. Guy on a horse is the answer.
yeah, I mean, I think this one's the most slam dunk one of any of them because as the army exists, it actually has relatively strong internal balance. You look at it and you're like, two different types of interesting anvils with different kinds of punch back and different points in the battlefield, a nice ranged power projection unit, a nice, hammer unit. Like, yep, we're kind of covering all the mechanical bases here. So if we're not going to expand into a whole new element, right? Because obviously we have these 4 elements to explore, which I'm not sure I would want to with just a single thing. Like if we were going to expand into a new element, I would want that to be a whole new quote unquote chamber release. I wouldn't want to just throw one thing out there. Now, that being said, some elves who fight like the river, okay? Like some Bruce Lee, you've got to flow like water. Just super dodgy elves who are like dancing around the battlefield and Harlequin style, like elite. I'm thinking of like a Harlequin type unit where they're unbelievably dodgy, like preternaturally dodgy, because they have the Bruce Lee flow like the water thing. Would be pretty cool. I'm just saying I would dig ninja elves. So, or I guess not even ninjas, just martial artist elves would be the appropriate way to say it, I guess, right? Yeah. Okay. Right on. Okay. Moving on. Here we go. We're about to go back to back with 2 giant armies. Army number 1, Seraphon. What do them lizards need? What do we need to do with lizards? They have like 100 war scrolls. Right? So what can't they do? The answer is nothing. Like mechanically they cover every base.
Yeah.
Right? And we've already stuck a hero on almost everything we would want to put a hero on. I can put a hero on a cold one. I can put a hero on a big giant dinosaur. I can put a hero on a stegodon. I've got heroes galore on stuff. Does this army need anything other than just, obviously resculpts, ha ha ha. But do they actually need any new unit?
I mean, you could go the same route I took with cities and give me meaningful named characters. Give me Mazdamunde. Give me, Tic Tac Toe.
Sure.
Whatever you want. Like,
Teeny weeny.
Give me, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're going the right direction there. Like, there were actually a lot of cool sort of secondary named characters in the Seraphon. What was the name of the super assassin chameleon skink? Oxyotl or something like that was his name, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Like, that dude was pretty cool. So just stuff like that, I think, would be a really nice addition, having another hero. A lot of people are standing in the comments right now for coatls, right? For big giant, the sort of feathered serpent birds.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure. I mean, they don't need it. If we're just going pure rule of cool, that's fine. I don't know what they are in this army, because this tends to be a completely lizardish thing, and the Slann are already the connection to the old ones.
Yep.
So I don't know what the Coatl, who is traditionally like this spiritual representation of a near god of goodness, right? I
Yep.
don't know what it's representing in this army. That's kind of my trick with it. Like, sure, model wise, a Coatl sounds cool as all get out. I love Coatls.
Sure.
They're awesome. They're super cool people. I love Ebron. I love Coatls. But like, it's hard for me to narratively understand what they would be doing in the army. But that's probably just a failure of imagination. I'm sure it could happen. So, because again, they feel like they would be filling a role above the Slann, and I don't know what's above the Slann. Right? That feels weird to say.
Yeah.
And you know, like when you talk about giant centerpiece monsters, they already have giant centerpiece monsters. They've got that insane Dreadsaurian.
What about like a Slann on a stag?
What, like Mazdamundi used to be? That's what he was. He was a Slann on a Stegodon. Yeah. Sure. I mean, it's
calling back to something like that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we had that before, and it was, you know, it was fine. I always liked Mazdamundi. I'm so hurt right now by those stupid frogs and how OP they are that it's hard for me to say what this army needs is more frogs, right?
Yep.
So, you know, if we were going to inject a random named hero, I'll tell you completely honestly, I want a cool Saurus hero. Like if we're talking about a secondary character, there were so many cool Saurus named heroes.
Yep.
And obviously they're all dead now.
The one who guarded Croak.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. They showed up, like multiples of them showed up in the end times, and they all were, you know, really cool. Krokgar and other people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having a cool new Saurus named hero would be pretty great. So, you know, if I was going to pick one of them, I love the special character idea because it feels like narratively it'd be doing the most heavy lifting. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Next up, Stormcast. That's right. Easy answer. Open the new chamber. Bring out the Stormcast tanks. I already said it at the top of the show. Roll them out. Roll them out. Stormcast tanks. Yes, this is what we need, people. Get on board with Stormcast tanks. Okay, so that's my answer. It's a slam dunk. This it would open up a whole new road. Now, and then 8, 10, 15 years from now, we can have 18 Stormcast tanks.
Name characters for the chambers. For the other chambers.
For the non-Hammers chambers.
Do Hamilcar, do one character for each chamber. That's the right answer. And they could even release them as like the little plastic pack, you know, like both the small clan pack heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they wanted unique models like Hamilcar, for example, or something like that.
Yeah, like Hannah in the comments called out. Just give me the chapter masters.
Right.
Yeah.
Just give me them. Yeah.
Like in a narrative thing like this is the perfect place to do that.
Yeah. Joke aside, you're absolutely right. The chapter masters are some of the coolest Space Marine models that are around, and
they're golden demon fodder too.
They are golden demon fodder, but it gives the sculptors a cool chance to do something really fun. They're always super lush figs, and it would just be a nice chance to fill out all the chambers and make them feel like they had some avatar on the table, and people fall in love with those characters. So dig it.
I want the Celestant Prime to be meaningful again, and I say this, I want him to be ever evolving. So, you know, he came out with the Warrior Chamber, and then we got the Sacrosanct Chamber, and he is War Scroll chained. But I think as a new chamber opens, he gains another major ability. He gets better. I want him to be meaningful and not as I'm going to put him in my daughter's Kane army because of this, and not he's going to sit in the sky for 3 rounds because then he's good for these last 2 rounds. I want him on the board, and I want him wrecking face from turn 1 to turn 5. I want that more than anything.
I completely agree. I do not like the way the Celestant Prime's rules work right now at all. Like, if we were going to talk about just fixing a scroll, yes, Prime would be number 1 on my list. Prime Times is the coolest model in the range. I have now done 3 different conversions of Celestant Primes at this point, and I hate the fact that you have to keep the dude off the board to make him useful. Let me point out that the reason the Sons of Behemoth don't have Behemoth running around anymore is because he got hit by Gul Miraz once.
Yes.
Okay? The God Beast
It-
of Behemoth got taken out by a single blow from Gul Miraz. It cracked him
Yep.
like an egg.
Let me.
Nowhere, not. Hold on. Let me look at the
Yeah.
War Scroll. Nope. That is not found on this War Scroll. So, go
Nope.
ahead.
To prove my point, I have a. Oh shoot, what is it? It's the Griff from Cities, the Karl Franz model.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the Stormcast originally came out, we didn't really have the chambers. So I made my own. I themed it after the Reichsguard because I always want to do a Reichsguard army. So I just kind of went with that theme. So my Stealth and Prime conversion is the Karl Franz head on a Retributor with his big, beautiful bird next to him.
Yep.
So essentially what I did is I took an older kit to replace in a conversion kit bash a newer kit, and I made a better War Scroll into a worse War Scroll, and that drives me nuts. And that's one reason why I really don't play Stormcast, because I'm mostly Warrior Brotherhood. The Prime was kind of like my central piece. I loved him. I want to play him. When he's good, I'll bring the Stormcast back out.
Yeah, 100%. Brian S. said he'd been waiting in the Celestial Realm for 10,000 turns.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, when you're
absolutely.
right, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I understand there were other things that injured Behemoth before, but nonetheless, that's still the writers of that particular story need to get together with the writers of that particular War Scroll and have a discussion about ludonarrative dissonance. Okay. Okay. So at any rate, one more army in order, and then we're out of order. Silvaneth. What do them tree people need besides Alariel having a good scroll? Obviously, haha. Okay, so we all know that. But what's the thing we're going to add to the Silvaneth army? What's our special Silvaneth thing?
More deer elves.
More deer elves?
Yeah, from Kurnos. Give me the blend
Kurnothi gets
of...
to be their whole new
Yeah.
army. We're not bringing them into this. They're off on their own somewhere.
Okay, all right.
We already got the Arch Rev, which was a great expansion of sort of the Tree Revenant into a hero, right? So that was I liked him. He was cool.
A different variety of dryads would be nice.
Okay.
Like maybe a smaller unit that can fly, has like the insect wings. Just something to break up the monotony of 30 plus dryads on the board.
Okay. All right. There are lots of thoughts that I have here, but may I suggest that while we're in the mood to bring back Spirits of, okay, since we're on that train now, since apparently the gods could just reconstitute some of their old pals and favorites,
Right.
how about we just bring back a Spirit of Orion, or a spirit, and I wouldn't even call it that. I would just call it a Spirit of the Hunt.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll disagree from that lore wise, because I think his death was good enough to remain back where it was.
That's why I'm saying I don't want him back. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm not bringing back Orion. He's dead. He's gone. He's a thing from the old world. In the same way, we don't have Durthu in that army, right? Like Durthu's long dead, but we have the spirit of Durthu.
Yep.
Eltharion is basically dead, but he gets to be made of light and inhabit a living suit of armor, right?
Okay.
So we're just gonna keep riding this particular train with a thing that was super cool. Like Orion was a cool concept, right? Of dying and being born with the seasons and very traditional mythological elements there, right?
Yep.
And you could bring him and his dogs back as a single big, like this could be a big diorama model, like they're a big fan of doing, right? They love these diorama models now. Okay. So give me the Spirit of the Hunt. And that would be it doesn't even have to say Orion anywhere on it, right? It's not. Okay? And it's there. Now, maybe that dude ends up in Kurnoth. That would be fine. But I like to think that Alariel, who kind of has some of Ariel in her, right? That's because she absorbed her in the end times, still has some emotional, attachment to her former partner, whatever their relationship was. I don't know. They had a complicated relationship. But I think that would be a neat thing to add, right? Now, if we're gonna go bottom up rules wise, the answer is Kurnoth hero, like a Kurnoth named character, or like special character, or a Kurnoth just generic hero. I would take either. There's so many soulbound Kurnoth people running around that there's tons of Kurnoth heroes that are now showing up in the lore. We're all playing them. So why not actually give a cool Kurnoth hero who actually might have multiple weapon profiles? Like a neat thing about him would be that he might have like a cooler version of the bow and like a big sword or something like that. You know, you could have him actually have multiples of their weapon profiles. And kind of special named versions of each one. Like he carries a, like a named bow and a named sword. And yeah, he could be a cool way to, because the Kurnoth have always been like the hunters, that is to say, have always been kind of almost there, and sometimes they've been there and sometimes not. This could be a cool guy to lead them and do something with them in the same way kind of we talked about with the Demigryph hero, right? So, yeah. There you go.
Nice. Okay.
Anybody got anything else for Silvaneth?
I can see it.
All right.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Then it's time to go to the next big giant faction. We're going to burn through both the big ones. Then we'll do the little ones. Here we go. Going into Chaos. Beasts of Chaos. What are we adding to the Beasts of Chaos besides a redesign on all of their monsters? What is it that Beasts of Chaos need? This is a tough one.
I mean, I think it inevitably has to do something related to, it has to do something related to,
yes.
The Dragon Ogres.
There you go. Now you're in the right place. You're exactly where I was going. This is where we need to go. Yep. Okay. So it's we bring back a big named or generic, I'll take it either way, character Dragon Ogre who makes all the rest of the I don't just want the Shaggoth. Shaggoth's fine. He's okay. Yep. He can stick around. Okay. Yep. I want a big mountain splitting, lightning calling, be a Dragon Ogre.
Like there were a bunch of ogres floating around at one point in time that like of conversions of people using the Stardrake body.
Yeah, and, sure. Kolek the Sun Eater is who a lot of people are shouting out now. And yes, I don't want Kolek back. He's dead. He can stay dead or whatever, because beasts don't always get to live forever, right? Sure. But I want something like him. He was a good idea, right? Sometimes we've had ideas over the past, and sometimes we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes we just need to go, oh yeah, we had a wheel. Let's just use that wheel.
Yeah, let's just do that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And somebody that makes Dragon Ogres actually beefy, that solves some of their problems. I would love to see this guy release with maybe a rewrite of the Dragon Ogre War Scroll. Maybe give them 2 damage. Would be just throwing out ideas here. Weird. That would be an awesome way to take this army because they're so underpowered right now, and they're just super cool. Right? Yeah. So I think that would be absolutely like my number 1 pick. So, I mean, I don't.
Yeah. I'm gonna take my lesser ideas and not even say them because I want this to happen. So I'm not gonna put anything else out there in the universe.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. The only other one I would throw out if we're gonna curse ourselves would be give me a Beast Lord on something. Just put a Beast Lord on something significant, so I can have a regular Beast Lord hero who's a little meatier than the current.
On a Gorgon.
One thing of that. Put him on a Chimera. Then we can actually make both of those things useful.
Or Chimera, yeah, that'd be good.
Put him on a big giant redesigned chariot, so classically there used to be Beast Lords on chariots and stuff like that. It could be give him a big ornate heavy wound chariot. It could be a monster, one of their tamed beasts, whatever, right? Just give me a Beast Lord who can actually withstand, who has more than just 5 wounds and can't be immediately sniped by anybody who looks at him funny. I think would be super cool. The Beast Lord is way too cool of an idea to be as, let's just be honest, bad as he currently is.
Yeah.
Right. So,
I don't disagree with that.
So there you go. Okay, awesome. Okay, next up, Blades of Corn. Corn. What are we doing with them corny folks? Who yet another army that has like 5 million war scrolls.
Take Valkia.
Okay.
Make that into a unit.
Like it.
As far as aesthetic rules, and give them 2 different variations: a shield version or a not like a more melee version. Just give me that.
Okay. So we want to take the Canary concept from Dark Elves and bring it over into Khorne.
Yes.
We take Valkia plus Canary equals Khorne Harpies or something like that.
Yes, and let's push even further. That unit on a 6 gets to attack again. Let's just go full in.
Sure. Okay.
Pull out my Khorne again.
Yeah, Khorne. Yeah, I mean, obviously they would just be called, as has been said. Yes, they would just be called Valkyries, right?
Yeah.
Because, this. I mean, that's a winner in my book. Also, by the way, foot slogging Blades of Khorne, having a flying mobile unit that could get around and threaten things, right?
Yep.
Sounds super cool. Like, good mechanically, cool aesthetically. Yeah, I'm in it. And Valkia has been doing heavy lifting for too long as an awesome hero that's been underrated. Can we please build her out a little bit to have her get some kind of reward from Khorne? And so, yes, love it. Tom, anything else? Anything? Yeah. Oh, good.
No, sorry. Need a Daemon Princess. That's what I said.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one that I would do that would be a really interesting or fun place to play in would be to do a not Volkia, or like to do a mid-range ranged unit.
Okay. Yep.
That is doing that's serving or functioning as a how do I want to say this? That's serving as a
like, are they softening up the enemy before the melee goes in? Is that the idea?
Yeah, like I'm thinking about like a fire pot thrower.
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, what was in my head was the Dracoth riders with the crossbows, right?
Yeah.
The bolt crossbows,
Yep.
where they're still quite a potent melee threat, right?
Yep.
But they sort of have these range weapons that they weaken the enemy with before they charge in on the Dracoths, right?
Yep.
So you could have somebody on like a Juggernaut with some kind of ranged type of thing, like a Juggernaut unit meant to weaken at range and then smash into them. Yeah. Okay. Neat. I dig that. Somebody had mentioned Demon Priest. That's the only thing I would shout out. I do love the idea of Demon Priest. I don't understand why Khorne doesn't have Demon Priests. Why they can only have Mortal Priests. There's probably some good lore reason for that. Please jettison that lore reason immediately. Get rid of it and get me Demon Priest, because Demon Priest sounds super cool.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah.
There you go. Chaos Spawn said, like Marauder Horsemen. No, I'm thinking heavier, right? Like in my head, they're not Marauder, because Marauder Horsemen are too sketchy for Tom's idea. It's more like the Dracoth, where it'd be a unit of 2 or 3 or something like that, like Juggernauts of Khorne, right? Like Skull Crushers or Blood Crushers or something like that, but a variant on that thing. I mean, if we can have 8 different War Scrolls for people on Dracoth, we can have 2 War Scrolls or 3 War Scrolls for people on Juggernauts. So, all right, cool. Okay. So, next up, we are not doing the Legion of Chaos Ascendant, by the way. That doesn't count, because that's just a combination of all the demon armies. So I know it exists. It doesn't exist for our purposes. It's not an army with a book in that way. We're skipping it. Okay.
Yep.
Nurgle. What's Nurgle doing? Yeah, this is a tough one, because Nurgle's already built out a lot of interesting heroes mounted on stuff. Right, like you've got your hero mounted on a big plague drone fly thing, right? You got different foot heroes. You got lots of different guos. Like, all that's taken up. They're way too fast. Speed isn't the issue. They've got hammers. They've got anvils, right? They've even got a weird snail guy who makes trees pop up all over the place. So, like, Nurgle is an interestingly rounded force. Okay.
So you need something that, like, you need more big, like, fatties, like big boys, like
Do you?
Yeah, like what I mean by that is like right now, because that is an army that spams one unit.
Sure. I
And
mean, that's a
so,
points concern more than anything else, but okay, sure.
but in my point being that I think that they need what they need is they need a unit that they need somebody like they need some diversity of units that are the Blight Kings that are different. Does that make sense?
It does not. You're gonna have to unpack this one for me, Tom. What would they
Like
do?
so we have a mounted, and that's a question. So we have a mounted, and we have a melee unit.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that would be obvious would be what if they were like a utility debuff unit? And the whole idea behind them was that they carried bells or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And like they rang bells and debuffed stuff or whatever, something along those lines.
Okay. So are they
Like-
still like the size of Blight Kings?
Yeah, like
Because-
so like in the Blight King units, you have like the big the guys that carry the big bells, the tonsons.
Yeah, sure.
But like having like that, but like think about like plague sensors or something like that, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That are all kind of playing in that same space.
Sure. But not like Plague Sensor Bearers from Skaven, who I'm sad those things have been terrible now for
Right.
4 editions in a row. Oof, that
Yep.
feels like too long. It's been a while since Plague Sensor Bearers have been worth playing. Yeah, I mean, I think you're almost onto something there, but if I can say what I think would be a great addition to the army, that isn't just fixing existing scrolls. Like this is one of those things that doesn't need mid-range heroes. Just fix the ones you've got. You've got all the Magath Lords. They're great. Just fix those. Cool. We've got mid-range heroes, right? So you get everything from big to little. The hero place is one of the few like Nurgle is one of the few armies where heroes, special characters, generic characters, like man, they got it on lock, son, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what I think you're almost onto it, and I think the right answer there is almost more like Poxwalkers in 40k, but it's just dudes with like somebody said plague flagellants. That's pretty close to what I'm thinking too.
Yep.
Plague bearers are ultimately kind of boring. Like they're fine. They're a decent enough tar pit anvil. And Blight Kings are like tough. They're decently offensive. I want to see a Nurgle unit that's basically armorless. Okay, so they have no save at all, but they still have the 5-up. You keep them with a 5-up, feel no pain, or a 6-up, feel no pain, or something like that. And that's all they've got. Right? They're just armorless, plague-ridden nutsos running around, okay? Like the Plague-born or something like that.
Yep.
And they're dudes with big plague flails that run out and just spew and vomit on people and explode their pussy boils on people and hit people with giant, disease-ridden flails or whips or, cat of nine tails or whatever, things just meant to lacerate and bludgeon and infect, right? And have them be sort of like a massed unit. Because once Marauders get fixed, which I assume happens at some point in time, so they're just not like the auto default in every army, this would actually be that would be filling then a really vital role that isn't just take Marauders, mark them, Nurgle, right? Which I really hate right now.
Right.
This would actually be a cool unit that would go there and they'd splatter all over people and they would die, but then in dying that causes more mortal wound kickback, right? As they sort of explode onto people in a rain of pus and disease.
Sure.
Sounds great. Like, and just kind of just shock troops, right? So I'm sorry, Chaos Spawn. I love the painted 120 Marauders. They've got to be fixed. They're a problem right now. The answer cannot be with 6 armies. Just put Marauders in it, which is what they are right now. That's a problem. That's not good. Okay. All right. I'm not wanting them to be bad. I just want them to be not the answer for 6 different armies. That's all. Okay. Cool. Next up, one near and dear to my heart. Skaven.
Oof. Yeah.
I've got this one. You ready? This is easy.
Yep.
Slam dunk. Named Arch Warlock on Doomwheel. Boom. Could be named or not. I don't care. Arch Warlock on Doomwheel. This was a thing. There used to be
Yep.
Arch Warlocks who would ride Doomwheels around. That little Doomwheel mobile game is very funny. People love Doomwheels. They're the best unit in the army. Put them in a Doom tank. Put them in a bigger Doomwheel. Whatever. Slam dunk. Easy. Bam. Right? Done and dusted. Second idea would be new Eshin unit, right? Like, let's just assume at some point in the future we rewrite the kits for Night Runners and Gutter Runners, okay? What I want are mounted Eshin runners, okay? Like mounted Eshin Cav, okay? Like that have ghostly mounts. They ride silently. You know, think of them like Headless Horseman kind of people, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not like Thunder Cav that are coming in. They're sneaky, like just like Doomfire Warlock or something like that, where their cav is kind of spectral or kind of whatever. They sneak in. They're not actual ghosts, but you get the idea. They sneak in. They're fast. They hit. They probably use bows. Again, calling back to like that tradition of mounted archery, right? That that part of the army draws their lore from. Bang bang, done, awesome. I wouldn't put them on actual horses, by the way, because Skaven eat horses. I would put them on some kind of Molder beast, obviously. So.
Yeah.
And then they could have the keyword for both of those things. Yes, like Skaven Hex Wraiths, by the way, Kenny. Yes, that is a pretty close thing to what I'm saying.
I can see.
Yeah, and then by the way, just like, and then you can use it with either one. What's that?
And it gives Molder a unit.
Exactly. Yes, it's a double dip, right?
Yeah.
You're filling out two parts of the forces that need a new unit. You're filling out a cool role. It would be a super cool model.
Yeah.
It's a win all around, right? So.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yep, I wouldn't mind seeing that on the table.
Yep. So, okay. All right. Anything else from Skaven?
No.
All right. Okay. We've already kind of talked about them. Or no, I guess not. We got one more. Sorry. Slaanesh. What does Slaanesh need? All the mortal stuff, leather daddies, that's it. Like, just release the thing you'll probably release.
No. I got this. I got this one. I actually, this was one of them that, like, popped into my brain.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. So it is so think about like a gimpy pain slave.
Okay, sure. I'm with you so far. I like where your head's at.
I know you are. And so let's say that they're like these like S like the mask, the whole deal, and there are 2 wound models, and they have a shot of absorbing damage.
Sure, because they're masochists that like pain, so they can absorb damage from nearby units or heroes or something. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and so so like they have like a 50% shot of absorbing, and so like any of the wounds that they would absorb, and one of their special rules lets them generate
depravity. Yeah, when they absorb wounds, they generate depravity. Yes. Oh, I love it. So we've got to bring out the GIMP situation.
I mean, like that's it, right?
That's it. Yeah, you nailed it. That's fantastic, Tom. Wow. I'm blown away. This needs to happen. It's such a good idea.
And so like make them just bad at melee. You know, they're like 5s and 5s. That doesn't matter. You know, because they're masked and they can't see anything. Who cares?
Yeah. I dig it. Yes, this is the winner right here. We're in it to win it now. I mean, Chuck, I don't know if you've got anything, but that is a hard one to top. Tom just dropped
I don't
a
have
banger.
anything better than that.
Okay.
I have nothing better than that. So,
Slaves to Darkness. What are we doing with Slaves to Darkness? What do they need, if anything? Again, an army with a massive number of units, right?
I would say new sculpts on Daemon Princes.
Sure, of course.
Make chariots good.
Sure. Yeah. All this is stuff we'd want to see, but what's the new units? Right? I have an answer for you. Okay, but go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Okay. So, what I want to see, like in Slaves to Darkness, is, and this is probably kind of cheating, but I'm doing it anyways. I want to see real Chosen. Okay? Chosen
Okay.
right now aren't chosen. What I want is the dark parallel to the Stormcast Paladins that Chosen are supposed to be, clearly, but fail
Yep.
at being.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So, what I want is sort of a dark priestly unit. Not like the Paladins, a lot of them, like evocators, are spellcasters, yeah?
Yep.
I want a dark chosen priestly unit. Then enslaves to darkness. They can pray. Like they have the priest keyword. They can pray. They come in units of like, sure, they could still come in units of 5 and have 3 wounds each. Have a relatively heavy save, right? And their prayer is a self buff to them, to the chaos gods, right? That looks a little bit like the chaos reward table.
Yeah.
Right. And they pray to buff themselves and they get in there. I don't know what we're going to call these. Dark acolytes, maybe, or something like that. You know, like that would be the cool way to go. But it's, and some people have said foot Varangard, question mark.
Yeah.
I mean, Varangard are supposed to each be heroes,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of their idea. I'm
Yep.
not really looking at that. Like, really what I'm looking at is, I understand what you're saying about going up into Varangard, but that's not what I want. Varangard are kind of the match, in my mind, to, you know, Dracoths or their other heavy mounted cav
Yep.
of the Stormcast. Where
Yep.
I feel like it falls down is I look at the basic Chaos Warrior and stuff like that, and I'm like, that matches to the basic troops of the Stormcast. But now, like, Stormcast stole their basic concepts from Chaos. Now Chaos needs to steal back, right? I want Chaos evocators, dark paladins.
Yeah.
Because dark paladins are cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And making them priests would really reinforce them being like sort of the dark reflection of the evocators.
I can see that.
And that would also make them interesting if you did mark them and use them in armies that have prayers. Like that could be an interesting, they could become a real interesting unit in Khorne because then they could get the Khorne prayers or whatever. You know, it just feels like it has a lot of versatility then in a cool unit.
Yep.
So, and you know, part of the problem is a lot of the individual armies have gotten this kind of heavier type infantry in the aforementioned Blight Kings or in Wrathmongers and Skull Reapers or whatever, right? But the basic slaves don't have their version of that, right? The Chaos Undivided don't have like a real version of this. And in my mind, sure, could you just use existing Chosen and completely rewrite the War Scroll? Yeah, I guess, but those models are old, like old. Yeah. I would really just love to see this be a new unit and us slowly just shuffle Chosen kind of off. Just bye. Go away. Yeah, so, you know, to me, that just feels like such a cool slam dunk for slaves. So, yeah. S2D. Okay. Anybody got anything else?
No.
Last Chaos Army. Zeech. What does the Changer of the Ways? What does that giant turkey need to add to his forces? I mean, again, a talk about somebody with a lot of scrolls. And a lot of heroes. A lot. So, what are we adding to Tzeentch? Are you ready? The answer's right in front of you. It's the same answer I would have given 5 years ago. It's the answer I would have given 4 years ago, and 3 years ago, and 2 years ago, and now. And that answer is Shark Surfers. We need Screamer Surfers. We need people who are riding those Screamers around. The fact that we've got the Screamers as a concept, and we've never put anything on top of them, right? Like, I understand that they actually take sometimes Screamers, and they lock them in the little things, and that's how you get discs. I understand where Chaos discs come from, and blah, blah, blah. I get it. Okay, I get all that. It's not what I want. I don't want them shoved into that weird little thing.
You want wild disc riders.
I want wild disc riders, yes.
Yeah.
Or wild Screamer riders.
Yeah, wild Screamer riders, yeah.
Not people, because the disc betrays some level of artifice, right? And like intentionality. What I'm looking for here is like sticking a Mortal Marauder type model or something like that, right?
Yeah.
On top of a Screamer, and they are just nuts. Okay? Yep. They're just flying forward on this thing, holding on to little horns for dear life, just yelling at the top of their lungs, obsessed with chaos and change.
like
Right.
chaos magic just like falling off and like the unit flies over
Yeah, just hurling
another
warp
unit
fire.
and it just like just chaos craziness.
Yeah, like put an acolyte, take the acolyte concept, drive him crazy, put him on a screamer, boom, done, done. That's what I want.
Yeah, I guess so.
It would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't like. So it's just basically an evolved Zangor.
No, because these would be a ranged unit. That's what I'm saying. They throw
Oh.
warp fire around.
Skyfire.
Well, hopefully not that bad. But yes, I agree with you. It is somewhat in that territory. Like, rules-wise, it's somewhat in that territory. Sure. This is cheaper. That's a very elite option. I'm not looking to be super elite.
Okay.
Right?
And like as a shark surfer, like they are doing something different. Like they're not discs, they're sharks.
Yeah,
So,
and my honest answer here is these would be to more akin to something like a Marauder Horseman, or more like their light cav version, whereas the Skyfires and the Enlightened on Disc are obviously a little heavier, quote unquote. I mean, they have more wounds and can do good damage in melee. So, yeah, that's my personal take. Right, like just they throw lots of short range warp flame. Just they're just maybe make them 2 or 3 shots. Or something like that. Probably 2 shots a piece of just like some hot warp fire at a short range. And they just scream around the board. Low armor save, cool chaff unit, right? Yeah. There you go. That's my Zeech. Okay. All right. Chaos done. Now we come to the quick ones, gentlemen. You ready?
Yep.
All right. Let's jump into death. Okay. Flesh Eater Quartz is where we begin. What are we doing with Flesh Eater Quartz? What is the unit that Flesh Eaters need? They obviously got their little sweet new, hero back a little while back. But if we had to do another one there, what are we doing? And every one of their normal units has a hero version through their courtiers, right? So this is one of those armies.
We need them riding dead horses and being the true Bretonnian knight mentality in their manic style.
Sure.
So the challenge with that, I don't hate that. The challenge that you have though is that like the knight, the one guys are the knights.
Your Crypt Hunters and your Vargeist and stuff like that.
Yeah, like they are the knights.
Yeah.
So here's my pushback. Here's my alternative.
Or Crypt Horrors, sorry.
Yes. So here's my alternative to that proposal.
Okay, I'm ready.
You lean into the court nature of it.
Okay.
So
by the way, I'm upset that someone in chat gave my answer, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I've been sitting on it, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Like think about like the diorama style, right? Like, and I don't know exactly what this is, but like think about those that. So this could go one of 2 ways depending on how dark they want to take it.
Okay.
Okay, and what I mean by that is like one of the ways that you could go to make this like super dark is that like they have a court. You know, like court of
like how Catacross is standing there, but it's the whole court. It's the whole royal court altogether.
But they are people, like real people.
Okay.
Like chained there, being fed flesh to turn them into flesh eater courts.
Interesting.
Okay.
So have it be this like super dark mirror.
All right. So my answer is exactly what somebody in the chat said. All I was thinking of when I was thinking about this one was what did Old Bretonnia have that this doesn't have? And I thought about like, okay, the ghouls think they're peasants, the crypt horrors think they're knights, the Vargeist or whatever the flying dudes are think they're the Pegasus Knights, right? The Grail Reliquae is the one thing they don't have. Okay?
Sure.
So what I want is a unit, like it's a thing that goes along with the ghouls.
Yep.
That is some sacred relic that they think is like some, the body of one of their dead heroes, just like what the Grail Reliquae was. But it's actually just some horrible, twisted, mutilated thing, or whatever, that they've held up.
I want to mix yours with Tom's. I want him to be a living person strapped to that thing, screaming in terror,
Sure.
as opposed to being the dead knight.
Hush, Reliquary, hush. Why does our
Yes.
Reliquary talk so much? He is
Yes.
holy. Listen to, he screams to us from the other side of the righteousness of our cause. Yes.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I like both of those ideas a lot.
The living person, you nailed it. You've got the right idea. The living person is absolutely what it is. Just completely invert the concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where the Reliquary is, and they hear his screams of lament as like holy utterances and scriptures to their sacred deed. Yes.
And so there's an irony to this as well, because like, you know how like, so they're flesh eater courts, right? And so they're literally like carrying along a meal, or like you know how like, so the chalice holds the, like, you know, so it's the holy thing, it holds the blood or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Like the person that is living is the chalice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, I told you I was going to get super dark with this.
No, I love it. This is great. That's a winner right there. There we go. All right, we've got it. We've nailed it. Okay. Legions of Nagash. Oh, good God Almighty. Here we go. What does Big Papa Nagash need that he doesn't already have? What do you give the man or death god who has everything? I mean, this guy's got heroes for days. There's every level of thing. Can I do have a suggestion. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. In thousands of years, Nagash finally unlocks the secret of fast zombies. Okay? And so, well, it's sort of a cheat, but what we actually need here is zombies that aren't just traditional slow zombies, but are fast zombies like in scary zombie movie zombies. Yep, remake of Dawn of the Dead zombies. Okay? Yep. And make zombies great again. Right? I think that would be, I mean, again, it's kind of a cheat, but that feels like it would be really cool. Yep. People have a lot of love for zombies. It gives us a chance to do a new zombie kit, right? Yep. And that just feels like such a win. If we're not just going to talk about kit updates of like, hey, do new Blood Knights or something like that, right? Or if vampirates are going to be a thing, then that's fine. Yes. So, exactly. What else does anything else we feel like that people feel like could be in Legions?
Nothing for me.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people are shouting out mummies. There's a need in this community right now. And that need is mummies. See, my idea of sea mummies, it would if they come if they left turn on us and give us sea mummies, they're gonna sell 1 million of them. That's all I'm saying. If they come out with pirate mummies, wow, they will blow my mind. I'll literally get knocked back off of my chair if sea mummies happens at some point.
So amazing.
Okay. Yep. Night Haunt. Is the answer just make a hero black coach? Is that what the answer is here?
Yeah,
I think that's the answer, right?
Yeah, that is the answer. Like, that is 100% the answer.
Right? That is the answer. Just make a hero black coach.
Yeah, done. That's a nice, simple, makes everyone want to buy that model.
It's a beautiful model. It would have a real purpose. It would solve the problem they have of all their heroes being way too small and squishy. Feels like the ultimate win. Just hero black coach. So, great. Okay, we did it.
That was easy.
That was an easy one. Fixed it.
We did it. We do it. Yep.
I mean, you know, sometimes the answers are that obvious. Okay, Ossiarch Bone Reapers. In this case, OBR. I mean, they can build anything. Catacross can build anything he wants. Krakatoa can build anything he wants out of bones, right? So, sure, go nuts. What doesn't he have yet? He has weird four-armed, elite soldiers. He's got obviously some of the better infantry around. He's got cool cav. He's got, artillery. I do have a suggestion, okay, which is based on what was in the narrative. Okay. In the narrative, when Catacross is defending the fortress he takes in the All Points against invasion, he has giant bone ballistae he's built, right?
Okay.
And it would be like, I actually think this serves an interesting purpose. Like, I understand they have catapults, and catapults are good artillery or whatever.
Yep.
But it would be interesting to give them a more targeted, maybe a shorter range, but fires a lot of bone arrows type of artillery.
Can I hit you with something else?
Okay, I'm ready.
A true tallyman. This is about bone collecting, right?
Yeah, sure. I like where your head's at. Okay.
Let's start taking heads, right?
Yeah.
Let's count bodies.
Yep.
And let it morph into summoning.
I like it. Yeah, or repair or whatever. Yeah, something.
Like they already have some of that going on, right? Like with the Bone Shaper. But I just have a big 18-inch aura around this person for the master craftsman. The master accountant or whatever.
Yeah. Effectively the reinvention of sort of the necrotect that used to exist in Tomb Kings, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because the true tallyman, right? Because that's what they're here for. They're here to collect their tithe.
Yeah, I do think that this. Well, yeah, if there's tithe taker, the accountant. If there's any army that needs an accountant on the battlefield, it's this one.
It's literally this one.
And no, Volk Morton is obviously not good enough. Obviously, we're just writing that guy off. I get it that he's supposed to be kind of that dude, but get rid of him.
He's not.
Right. And he's a special character. I want this the generic version of a true accountant. I like this.
Right. Yep, that's where I'm at.
Okay. See, for me, I saw a few people call it out. My thought would be Bone Giant.
Sure.
Okay. So Catacross just went up against Archaon, and he keeps making these new bodies, and he keeps getting destroyed by, well, not by Archaon, but by his mount. So he says, I'll just make a giant that's as big as Archaon to fight Archaon instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bone Giant would be a slam dunk. I mean, especially with all the giants now invading, right? Like, we've got the Sons of Behemoth invading everywhere. So there's going to be plenty of Mega Gargant bodies around. Yep. All it takes is them bringing down one of those guys, and then they get enough bones to build in their own version of a new giant. And let's face it, Bone Giant is a cool concept. By the by, I would love it if he actually had the old TK Bone Giant style, where one of his weapon options was a giant bow, which was like the coolest thing on the giant.
Yep.
So yeah, that's Chuck. I'm with you. That's solid. That's solid. Okay. Let's close this out, boys. Here we go. Destruction. Okay. So, we're gonna start with because we're gonna take Bone Splitters and Iron Jaws. We're gonna call it War Clans. You can do a unit for either or both or whatever, because they can all go together in a big war. So we're gonna go by the book, even though there technically can be two completely separate armies. So. The slam dunk answer here is Mega Boss on Pig. We all know it. We've all seen it. It's been the thing everybody said. Yes, we all know. But that's like the RST-LNE on Wheel of Fortune. Like, those are the gimmies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that one's fine. We all agree that's cool. What else would we want in the War Clans? What else is there out there? Now, another one that... Oh, go ahead, Chuck. I've got another idea.
Let's say, because the one thing I liked about the old orcs back from Warhammer Fantasy, I mean, it was kind of in all fantasy, but I could see this army carrying it over into AOS. Give me back, like, the Banner Bearer. Give me those sub-leaders, not as named heroes, but like those sub-leaders, like just spread out the buffs a little bit more so you can do things a little bit differently throughout the board.
Okay. All right. Not quite a mega boss, but a big boss.
Yeah, that step in between there. Mega boss is looking out on his back for those guys.
Yeah. I could see a big boss. That's an interesting. It's because that's not what a war chant is, right? That's clearly something different. And when you look at sort of 40k orcs, there's all different levels of knobs and bosses and stuff like that until you get up to the big giant mega boss. So sure, okay. I like that. A lot of people are shouting out wyverns. Wyverns are just the wyvern's just an inferior maw crusher. We've already got that covered. Unless it was going to be like a real small wyvern, like a little weedy thing that would truly be just a bigger cavalry unit. But
so no, I'm going to go two different directions. Okay, so if we're talking about bone splitters,
yeah, okay, sure.
I want them to have amazing. I want them to have baby maw crushers.
Okay.
And I don't mean like mid-size units. Please hear me.
Okay.
I want like wee maw crushers.
Okay.
Like
hatchling dragons type of situation?
Yes.
Okay.
And the logic here is they're monster hunters, right?
So they go kill the parent and find the little babies and then press them.
Right. And like, what do we do with these? You know, they like I can just imagine they look at them and they're like, I don't know. They're my pet now. Like they need to raise them so they can slay them.
Sure. Then they raise them up, then let them go free, and then so they can go hunt them again.
Right.
Because why kill if they kill them now? There's no sport in it, right?
Right. Yeah, it's not actually like challenging. And so baby maw crushers for your savage orc, your bone splitting units.
Okay. The results of their hunting expeditions. That's fun.
Yes. Okay. So that's one direction I would go.
Okay.
The other direction I would go is I would go with, for Iron Jaws, I want to have an actual team that it's a 3-man team, like so it's like a mini diorama base on like a, I don't know, 100 mil round. Mm-hmm. What are the size rounds do we have? Like 75?
We've got plenty of options. You got 80 mil round, you got 100 mil round, you got 130 mil round, you got all sorts of options.
Okay. And so what I want is I want this shot put team.
Okay. Shot put team. All right.
Right. Because you got to remember like a big like slingshot style team. Okay. Because this is not like it's, you know, I had seen somebody make a comment, Alex make a comment about like doing like a doom diver, like carrying doom divers to shoot crossbows or whatever.
Sure.
No, that's not what this is. Right. What this is, what I want to see is I want to see them with
a giant Y-shaped stick with a rubber band in the middle and another orc holding a big boulder who puts it in there and pulls it back.
No. 2 orcs in the front like leaning against one and the other one leaning back.
Okay, sure.
Yep. All right.
Then this explains how it can be like a siege engine that's mobile.
Yeah, so it's basically a take on the old hot pot, but a little more mobile.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but they're throwing big giant rocks. Okay.
Or squig. They can throw squigs.
If they, you know, more of a goblin thing, but all right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Because like Iron Jaws are about big, heavy iron, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like that's their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm thinking.
I get it. Okay. All right.
And it gives them a range unit, but like it doesn't have to be a super long range. But it's just a real interesting like. So basically, they're like slingshotting a cannonball.
Yeah. Yes. It's just the most manual of things. Yeah. No, I get it. That's fun. Yep.
Like, and so like it gives them siege, but not like ridiculous siege.
Sure.
It's this really fun, weird, scrappy 100 mil trio that just runs around and punches things and shoots these slingshot, you know, cannonballs at people.
You could put them on the 105 mil chariot base. That would be the one I'd put them on. That oval, right? Yeah. The small chariot base.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Next up, it's them Gloomspite Geats.
Yes.
What are them Geats? What are we gonna give them Geats? A lot of people want to see Doom Divers. That's been a popular shout out.
I wouldn't mind Doom Divers, but not the way they used to work.
No,
right.
I have
reinvent this concept for me. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Go ahead,
okay.
Jeff.
I was like, no, if you have an idea, Tom, like go ahead.
I do. Like I have lightning, but I want to hear what your Doom Diver idea.
It's nothing fancy. It's just a matter of give it a little bit of randomness as far as like a dice roll based upon like you pick a point or you pick a unit if there's another unit within so many inches, or almost like the what's the vulture on the Beast Claw Raider.
Sure.
You pick a unit, I pick a unit, we roll off to see which one it hits. Make it do tons of damage though.
Okay. Okay.
I said nothing fancy, but that you bring out your lightning, Tom.
Okay. I want to see the Goblin mutant unit
Okay.
that has been popping shrooms
Mhm.
for so it's your fanatics that haven't died.
Okay.
Because fanatics in their their normal grots that pop a mushroom and go insane and like jump out of the crowd.
Yep.
So they're just normal dudes hopped up on a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who I want. I want to see the dudes, in a sense, the elite fanatic unit that's all like mutated and misshapen and like huge, and maybe we get an extra arm, and they're just like tripping balls all the time.
They have to always seek that bigger high. So yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're just this like weird semi-elite unit of grots that are just insane, drugged up. And again, they can have some weird mutations, and I can imagine some of the sculpts with like really big eyes and small eyes and just the whole deal.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. So here's my suggestion. I thought about Gits quite a lot today, actually.
Sure.
Because I was thinking about this army, because it is pretty big. It has a lot of units.
It is.
And it's got some really cool and unique stuff. But I was thinking, like, what is the army really lacking? You know, like, when I look around, and we could certainly say, well, a Trog hero that's not bad, but that we have that, just redo that War Scroll. So that didn't need to be a new unit, right?
Yep. And
I actually thought a cool one would be sort of doing what they did with the Boingrot Bounders, with the spiders. So heavily armored spider riders is basically what I'm thinking here, right?
Yeah.
Where they armor up their spiders, they armor up themselves, right? I mean, armor up as per how goblins armor up, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And like a fast, mobile sort of spider anvil unit. It feels like it would make the spider section actually playable, because the problem is that entire part of the book is basically just a complete glass cannon, like the glassiest of glass cannons, that if it gets touched by anything, it explodes. And this would give them like a real in-theme anvil unit. So maybe, you know, keep them about the same speed. They're spiders. They have a lot of legs. They can get around, right?
Yep.
And, you know, but they don't have like the offense. They still have the poison, which they can rely on. And they're just more about like crawling over things and just buckling down and taking the charge, right?
Yep.
I think that'd be a cool unit, like heavy mounted spider cav, basically. Whereas the Boingrots are still very much a hammer unit, right? They're still meant to like jump into people and deal mortal wounds and stuff. This would be a true anvil, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that felt like, just if I was looking like from a bottom-up perspective, it felt like that would be, if I was going to introduce one unit that would suddenly turn on a whole bunch of other units and make them playable, that felt like the one that would do it. Right? Because suddenly the spider section would actually have some gas in the engine. I'm not saying it suddenly becomes top tier, but it becomes like, oh, okay, this is a functional army now. Right? Which is something.
All right. Here, I have one more.
Okay.
Oval base turned sideways, Tokyo Drift style, with 2 goblins on it, and they're just carrying a rope. And they just run forward. And
they're just carrying a rope.
A rope.
Just carrying a rope. It's nice and tight. Yep. You're just running at the enemy. They touch it, that unit is immediately dead, but it gives a like minus D3 movement to that unit for the rest of the game. They're all tied up. Just so I want some. It might mean something. It might mean nothing. I don't know. It just 2 little goblins just running and like and tangle up a few legs, and then they get squished.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Just like they're trying to trip people.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you? We have brought Ballasty Forged into Aesir, firing holy bolts of Sigmar charged lightning energy. What have you brought?
A rope.
Oh, we got 2 goblins with a rope.
Make it 60 points. Bring a few of them into an army.
Oh my god. No, that's got to be 40 points, dude. That's got to be
Okay,
40.
so-
It has to be less than a command point. Okay?
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh my god. I love that so much. And it does carry on the net theme, so I'm all
Goblin
about
with
it.
rope.
What's that?
I said goblin with rope. I don't hate it.
That's so good. That's so good, Chuck. That's the funniest thing. Because I can just picture it. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh, you can see the model right now, and like just you can even tie in the mushroom overdose thing if you want. You can go wherever you want with it.
Sure. They just run across the table like, ah! Got him!
Got him.
Oh god. All right. All right. Goblin with rope is up there for one of my favorite units we've discussed all night.
Someone
Okay.
please make this.
Sometimes it's the simplest ideas that are the best.
True.
Okay. All right, Maw tribes. Ogres. Let's finish it out. All right, with the ogres. What do they need? What do they need in that army? What don't we have? Besides, like, you know, you could say, again, besides change this unit or blah, blah, blah. Okay. We know there are fixes we need to have. That's all fine, but that's not what we're doing here. We're going to make a new thing. So we can't say fix man-eaters, even though we'd all love to, right? I've got an idea. Would you like to hear my idea?
I will certainly hear out your idea.
Okay. What is the most underused but one of the coolest ogre models?
The flame.
Yes,
belly?
the fire belly.
Yeah.
You're exactly
Fire
right.
belly.
That is right. Coolest concept. Very, very cool dude on his own, though, right? He's just one guy. He's this one little fire dude. So now we need to circle back around, and we're going to take a part of Tom's original idea for the island ogres, and we're going to bring in the fire eaters. Okay?
Ooh.
And the fire eaters are part of the same group. They're instead of adding a hero over the unit, we're adding the unit under the hero, right? And these are his troops, okay, that he leads around, and they just run around, and they have a short-ranged missile attack they can make that they literally can run around and eat and spit fire. And they use big flaming weapons, like they run around with flaming weapons, and maybe even on certain occasions light themselves on fire or something like that, right? They're inured to it and light themselves on fire, like that guy in the Scions of Flame, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think a fire eater unit would be super cool. Again, it would build out a part of the army that's never really, it's just kind of this weird one-off thing. It would give that some kind of purpose, and I think it'd be super cool. So there you go. That's my idea. And it could be a little bit shocky, a little bit shock troopy, right? Soften them up, you move up, spit at them, then go in for the melee.
I would like units of. I say wolves, but some sort of Mortal Realms equivalent. Some like packs of animals that are pseudo pets.
So bring it, like, allow the hunter to have more different pets than just the frost sabers.
Yes, but I don't want it to be associated with the hunter. I want it to just be like the animals that follow with the scraps that maybe the ogres might toss them for some fun because they'll fatten them up and eat them later.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Like just pure chaff use, nothing. I don't think anything special with them, but just...
Tom, any thoughts?
Yep.
All right.
You ready for it?
I'm ready, man. Do it.
I'm gonna go a different direction,
All right. I'm ready.
and I'm gonna make a new unit of snotlings.
Okay.
Not snotlings.
Nobblers.
Nobblers.
There we go.
I knew what you were going for.
But it's an emaciated, ravenous horde because they've been starved by the ogres.
You love putting a bunch of things onto like 100 mil base. That's
I do.
your goal in life, is to throw out so many ideas of tons of stuff on 100 mil base that eventually GW just goes, okay, fine, and does one of them.
I mean, but is this a bad idea?
It's not. I love this idea. So ravenous horde of Nobblars.
Ravenous horde of Nobblars. And the idea is that like the ogres have eaten so much that they've starved this group.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And so there are no ranks of these guys. It is a swarm of ravenous Noblars.
Yep. Just a big bunch of
Okay.
dudes on somewhere between a 60 and 100 mil base,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And they just move like a swarm. They flow around and they just consume things. It's just like tons of little gnawing teeth attacks.
It just writes itself.
Yep. As they just get on things and bite things.
Yeah.
Haywo surprisingly is not all about this idea because he loves only the ogres. He said any Nobbler idea is a bad idea. Agree to disagree. Ravenous horde of Nobblars, I will admit, does sound like an awesome idea.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. That's my idea.
Okay.
Good idea.
Well, I think we've done it. We've gotten to the end of the list. Out of all of this stuff that we've covered, certainly I think at least 0 of these will be seen in the Broken Realms. But who knows? Who knows? I'm gonna really love if we actually get any of these. I mean, if we get the ones that are just a slam dunk that a million people have said, I'll be like, yeah, sure. If they come out with a mega boss on Gorgrunta, I'm not going to say anything. But if they came out with Ravenous Horde of Nobblars, or they came out with Goblins with Rope, I'd be like, oh, we're taking credit for that one.
But, I mean, I have to ask, like let's think about this, though. We still have one more army.
Okay. What other army haven't we done yet?
The Sons of Behemoth.
Oh, well, they're not out yet.
I mean, but they're here.
Okay.
So what are they missing?
All right, that's fine. We don't even have the book or know what any of them do. But sure. We know we have 3 versions of the Big Giant and a rewritten War Scroll of the Little Giant. Okay. Yep. So that's what we know the army is. Yep. We know that 3 of the little ones in a unit can be your battle line.
Yep.
Right? Okay. So what's the other thing that giants need that isn't just a bigger giant? I mean, that's really what this would come to, right? Like, are we doing just even bigger giant?
You can do bigger giant, but what you have to do is take a certain like a temple or whatever you want to call it, or chamber, and you take a certain artifact and it goes on 2 heroes and it's earrings, and they have to do the Dragon Ball dance top of one, and then they morph into a combo of whatever those 2 were. So you have the combo of these 2, combo of these 2, combo of these 2 to form the bigger giant. That's a mix of both.
Okay. Right on.
I'm gonna say a shaman.
Okay.
Because I don't think we're gonna get a giant shaman.
All right. You don't think any of them are priests, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my go-to.
Sure. I mean, ultimately, I agree with Halo, who said battle line giant with a new sculpt. But yes, obviously, that's not what we're doing. Okay. So that's fine. When I look at it, and the obvious parallel here is, as everyone has said many times, Imperial Knights. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the parallel thing.
Yep.
And the little giants are your armigers, and the big giants are, your regular Imperial Knights or Dominus class or whatever. And when I look at how that's expanded, the answer there is usually yes, just bigger giants, right? Like that's literally the answer when it comes to Imperial Knights. It's like just bigger knights.
Sure.
Right? But conceptually, the other thing that the Imperial Knights have is they do have a terrain piece you can purchase that lets like a repair bay. Now it's terrible. Okay. Straight up terrible. But I would love it if the giants had, so here's our addition to the giants. You ready?
Yep.
It's a big terrain piece that is only ruins that they brought with them. Okay? That's it. It's just ruins. But they brought like bag of ruins or something, Yep. And when the giants are near it, they gain a ranged attack to throw big giant chunks of the ruins into the enemy army. right? So effectively, it's just like the terrain piece that the knights have, but instead of repairing them and sort of maxing out their weapon kits or whatever, it just gives them a new attack. If you stand near it, you get to carry a rock around, and you can then throw a big piece of the ruins, right, around. So there you go.
I don't hate that.
There you go. All right, I've added a thing to that army that doesn't exist yet. All right, folks. Well, we've done it. That's it. With that brings us to the end. Now, obviously, this is always... I love these episodes because everybody always has a million ideas that I saw in the chat, and there were so many good ones in the chat tonight. If you've got anything else, feel free to drop that in the comments. This is a fun one for discussion. So please do shout those out. Drop them down there. The links will be down for everything that we mentioned at the top of the show. Don't forget those. Check everything out. Give a like. Likes help other people find the show, increase the engagement, all that kind of thing. Does YouTube stuff. Help us do YouTube stuff and other people find the show. But thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like. Obviously subscribe if you haven't, but do that too. As always, thank you so much. Thank you, Chuck, for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was a great time, brother. To all of you out there who are watching, thank you very much. And as always, we'll see you next Wednesday.